now the ultimate power in the universe.
Sharing the love, spreading the light in real time. Friday night love stream.
Very happy to have a guy we instantly resonated with. Unbiased and on the fence. I'm talking about Shane C. Robinson. And his purpose is to rise above the worldviews that are designed to separate us so we can unite as one.
Sometimes you have to sort of take a step back, and I think Unbiased and on the Fence is a really, really good title for your show, because you are in the central point when you're unbiased and on the fence. That's what it means. It doesn't mean you're indecisive. It means you are taking the central point and you're seeing the multiple perspectives.
Unbiased and on the fence.
If you haven't checked Unbiased on the Fence, go and check his channel out. You might like it.
This is Dan Holfeld from Talk is Cheap, and you're listening to Unbiased and on the Fence with Shane Robinson.
If this much sincerity enters your life, come to this much. What I know, I know. What I do not know, I do not know. I don't believe anything, I don't disbelieve anything. I'm willing to look at everything. You will become a sensible human being.
Have you checked out our website?
Visit us on the web at uotf.net. You're listening to The Love Stream.
All around the world in real time.
This is Shane with Unbiased and On the Fence. You're listening to the Friday Night Love Stream.
Your calls, your stories, on air. You're listening to The Love Stream.
Sharing the love and spreading the light all around the world. This is Unbiased and On the Fence.
Unbiased and on the fence.
And welcome, it is Friday and I'm so excited to be here. We're going to be playing a segment of Rita's, you remember Rita won the BQH session last week. She was one of our free winners, and she so kindly is sharing her part of her session, the part that she thought that you guys would find more interesting. And so we're going to be playing a section of that, and then we're going to be talking to her. And I do want to remind you guys, for at least through the month of July, I'm going to be doing the sessions for $111, trying to raise money to go to E-SETI. And also, if you're looking into taking the BQH course, it's super cheap. I highly recommend it. It's been a complete paradigm shift for me since I've really got to experience this stuff that I've read from Dolores Cannon and stuff for years, and I can't believe I'm actually experiencing it myself. So if you're feeling led to get into that, make sure you save 10%. It's already reasonable, but save 10% by using the promo code in the description box below, and you can follow that link there as well. So, let's see, let me set up the audio here, and then we'll get that going. If you do want a session though and you want to email me is probably the emailing through shanecrob@gmail.com is the best way to get a hold of me. But you can also go to the website, which is also linked below, uotf.net, and there's a contact page you can go to and contact me through the website. Also, I want to remind you guys the forum is up and running. So if you want to discuss your ascension symptoms, if you caught some cool UFO stuff you want to share, or video, images, or if you just want to discuss E-SETI and try to make arrangements to ride share, all of that can be done on a forum and much more. So please do check out the forum on the website. It is private, so you'll have to register. But it is a great way to sort of chat with people privately instead of in the open chat here on YouTube. And so come be a part of the community. Check that out. Let me pull up this audio here, and we'll get started right away. I do want to preface this by saying that I had another session since this one with Rita a couple of days ago. And once again, this dragon energy that you'll hear Rita talking about, it came up again in today's session. And so if the whole idea of dragon energy has been sort of entering into your awareness right now, you might want to check this out. I don't know if you guys remember, but with April's session, she saw that 7-headed dragon that was breathing in and out of the nostrils and stuff. And I even asked about that in this session. And so I wanted to let April know that you might want to look into the dragon energy and see how that relates to you. But without further ado, let me start this audio here. Who is the being that Rita saw, that she calls Star, that she saw in her living room?
Yes. He is from the starship.
Mm-hmm.
She's looking for validation now. She knows. He is. He's her husband. On this. But he stayed back and she came here to do her work.
So he's still looking after her?
Yes. She would like to see him more, but she knows he's around. He's there.
Rita was wanting to know about the ancient dragon energy that's been coming into her awareness. Can you tell her why that's been coming into her awareness?
Yes. Dragon energy is very important, and it is becoming more important in people's lives because the dragons do have many messages. And to be aware of them is good. And it surprised her when she drew her dragon picture because as someone told her, it looks like a dinosaur with wings. He looks like Puff, the magic dragon.
A very friendly looking dragon, huh?
Yes. She'll have to show you the picture someday.
Yeah, definitely. Is the dragon painting some type of portal for the energy?
Yes. It helps her focus on the dragon and the dragon energy, and she did good to read up and watch videos from others, and she understands it more now because she was thinking it wasn't real, the dragons and the dragon energy, but now she's realizing that it is a real energy to pay attention to. They will help. They will help her and they will guide her.
Well, tied to this, I wanted to ask if you know if that's why we had the dragon symbology in April's session. Is that connected with the dragon energy as well?
Oh.
Might be a connection there I need to pursue.
Yes, yes. April could do some research on dragon energy. That would be good.
Oh, okay. I'll pass that along to her for sure.
Maybe Rita could paint her a picture.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Of the 7-headed dragon she saw. Would be really neat.
Yeah.
Is sketching and channeling individuals' hybrid children a new purpose that Rita should pursue?
Yes. Not to just. She drew people's angels before and brought through messages, but she was a little too excited about that and wanted to draw everybody. But this should be more when you're talking to someone and they bring it up, and she could suggest that she could do that if they wanted, and then if they say yes, that would be great.
Okay.
But not to just, say, oh, everybody needs one.
Right.
She was a little too exuberant, is the word, I guess, with her angel.
So she should be more selective with it and just trust that intuition she'll know when to ask somebody to be brought to her and to her awareness, and the situation will arise.
Yes.
Okay. But not to really advertise it.
And Laura, her friend Laura, is waiting for hers. So,
okay.
Rita will find time.
Rita was wanting to know if you can tell her why her buffalo hide that she had soaking disappeared from a small pool in the backyard.
Well, everyone thought the neighbor's dog had taken it, but Rita knew the hide was too heavy and too big.
Mm-hmm.
And Rita knew there was some sort of magic or something that was related to this incident, and basically it was. There was something about that first hide that she wasn't supposed to make her drum with.
Mm-hmm.
And so when she bought her new hide, everything was good, and she made her drum, and she loves it, but just know it's okay. It was meant to be.
Oh, okay.
It just disappeared for a reason.
Mm-hmm. It wasn't the right one.
Right.
Let's ask, how far away is our ascension? Or, more specifically, for Rita?
She's coming along nicely.
Mm-hmm.
It's another thing, just let go and let it happen.
Mm-hmm.
There's no steering involved, just let go.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all very soon, very soon. It's so close. And you're all so patient for waiting. And you know it's close. And you know that your gathering at E-SETI will be great.
Mm-hmm.
You will all take each other to another level of your consciousness just by being together.
That's what I was shown. Yeah. We make each other glow brighter.
Yes.
Yeah. And then take that brightness back to where we stay and spread it all around. I've been shown that several times. It's so beautiful.
And Rita's been wondering about Gary going, and this is going to be a great thing for him too. He will fit right in.
Oh, I bet.
And he will love everyone.
Yeah.
And he will be okay. He's been concerned about his health, but we will make sure that they are there and the trip will be a good one.
Excellent.
And they will be there on time and they will enjoy themselves.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Can we expect some kind of contact or disclosure experience at E-SETI that will be unique to us as a group?
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. You will all be on the same vibration, and it will happen, and you will all feel the love and make the contact, and you will all get from that contact what each of you need. And it will be a wonderful experience for all of you.
Oh, I'm so excited.
Yes, you should be.
I know a number of us in our group are interested in making contact with maybe the multi-dimensional Bigfoot characters or beings. Will we be able to do that? I mean, how should we go about trying to communicate?
Yes, Rita is excited about that also, and has been anticipating that too. Yes, and those of you that believe, there will be sightings, and maybe if you set aside a specific time to meditate and concentrate on that energy, that you will either feel them, some of you that will see them, and maybe capture them on your cameras. Yes.
That would be really neat. It's probably not for everybody, so we need our little Bigfoot group to go off by the river or something maybe.
that might be a good idea, because some are still almost afraid to do that, and that's understandable. So those that would want to, that would be advisable. Go off in a small group and meditate and raise your vibrations together and call them in. Yes, that would be great.
We will definitely do that. That's awesome. Thank you so much. Well, what about me and Rita? What kind of background have we had together?
She always knew that she knew you, right from the beginning. It's harder to know when you just chat with people, but to be able to see your face and connect with you and talk to you on the phone a couple times, that's made her feel closer to you, and which usually is the case with most people in the chat. But you definitely are from the same tribe. I like the word people use there, the tribe. It's really good. And so she thinks of you as part of her family now, and she is so glad that you are in her life, even though it is through chat and YouTube. That's what it's there for, to bring you all together.
Yeah, and that's really the whole group then, isn't it?
Yes. It's she wonders why. She needs to know that it's just like any family. There's some you're closer to than others, and some you connect with more on a vibrational level, and even when you get together in large groups, you'll still have that, but you still are all family and all meant to be together at this time.
And that's why we feel that familiarity or that resonance with other people, isn't it?
Yes, for sure.
Sort of draws us all together. Alrighty, and that's the segment we're going to play there. I was chatting away and didn't even realize it ended. Okay, let's see. Alright, I'll give Rita some time to call in. We'll chat with her. So yeah, if you don't know about E-SETI, we're having a meetup at E-SETI. It's near Trout Lake in Washington. And just so you guys know, I know Mike doesn't live too far. If anybody's like within driving distance and you don't really want to stay there, you can actually come out Friday or Saturday and spend $10 just to get in there and hang out. And then, if you're driving distance away, you can just drive back home at the end of the day and at least come out for one day and meet with us, or come out 2 days. So you don't actually have to stay at the ranch, but you do need to register. So you will want to do that at E-SETI.org. If you look through my videos, I have a video explaining E-SETI. And let's see. So yeah, you can check that video out, and all the links are in the description of that. Oh, sorry, Rita. There we go. It is also in the description box if you guys ever need it. 605-562-0444. And you will want to punch in show ID 1477973. Of course, we're going to start with Rita now, and then we'll take your calls later. But we'll get Rita in here. So yeah, you guys can check out E-SETI.org, look under events, scroll down, and you'll find the event on August 8th. And if you're just wanting to come on out to E-SETI, E-SETI stands for Enlightened Contact with Extraterrestrial Intelligence. So we're all going out there not only to meet up with one another, but to experience contact. If you check out the E-SETI YouTube channel, you can see all sorts of cool footage they've gathered over the years. And so yeah, it's going to be a good time. And as you heard in the BQH session, Bigfoot are also there, and we hope to make contact. Those of us that aren't too scared. I'm sort of imagining like a Harry and the Hendersons sort of fun being, to be honest with you. I don't know. I'm just ready to push out any fear that I have left about anything. And I've made it this far. I've been protected. I mean, I can look back and see I've made it this far and I've been protected. It seemed like, I was just kind of wandering around in the dark. Recording started. But I do know that I have been protected up to this point, so I'm not going to fear anything. I'm really excited about that. Okay, let me see here. I think this is Rita here. Let me unmute you, Rita. Are you there?
I'm here.
Yay!
Yes. Yay.
So that was awesome. Thanks so much for sharing that segment with everybody.
I was glad I could. Yeah, I see everybody seemed to like it, so that was great.
Oh yeah, it was really cool. I don't know if I cut too much out of the beginning or not. I just went off of what you sent me. So I know you had an interesting past life that we visited, and that doesn't happen too much in my session. So I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, that's interesting to me that you don't get many past lives, so everybody just kind of goes into like future and stuff.
Well, it's just, man, everyone is such a unique journey. I mean, I can't say that. I mean, a lot of times they'll start the same. Like people end up in this meadow of flowers and stuff. I'm like, this is the same place everybody keeps going, And then I've had other people say, well, I saw the flowers, but I heard other people say that, so I didn't want to say that. And then they sort of shut the door, But they were there, but they didn't. They stopped it because they were like, I didn't want to say what everyone else says, but that's really common. So if somebody's having a session, if you guys are having a session and you come across, you see the meadow of flowers, just go with it, because I would say probably at least a quarter of the people start in the field of flowers, and then it goes out from there.
I don't remember flowers.
Right? Yeah, yours wasn't like that. Yeah. Yeah, but there is some commonalities with it that I'm like, man, this is a real place people go, sort of this in-between place to go and meet with their loved ones or their guides. It's just, I guess it's just a calming place to go and hang out. So what was your overall impression of the whole session?
I was really pleased with it all. It just, and it's so neat. You can feel your higher self come in. I started feeling breezes around my head, and then I noticed my voice kind of changed.
Yeah, I noticed too.
It's just kind of cool. But I could share a little bit of my past life if you want.
Yeah, let's do that for those that didn't. Yeah.
Okay, well, I saw this blank face, and there was like hair around it. And then Shane told me to look at the rest of my body, and then I saw myself like a peasant girl, and I was real poor and ragged clothes and barefoot. Mm-hmm. And he asked where I was, and I was walking through a town with like a marketplace. Mm-hmm. And I told Shane I was looking for apples and he said, "Are you hungry?" And I said yes. And turns out anyway that I was homeless because my mother had sent me away because she didn't feel like she could take care of me, and I had been on the street for quite some time, but there was this one little jolly little old lady that sold apples, and I always looked for her, and she was real pleasant, and she always gave me such wonderful hugs and everything. And Shane asked questions, and it turned out it was my grandmother from this life and my mother from this life. And it's just kind of interesting. It's almost like I held a grudge against my mother from that life because I never thought she loved me this life. But she was a farm girl raised in a family of 11 and the third of 11 children. And she never really got the love she needed either, and she didn't know how to love, So mm-hmm. She took care of me, and she was a wonderful woman, but I just felt like I didn't get the love I needed. So this past life was it was like a repeat without being homeless on the street. And she didn't kick me out this time.
But it really shows how our lifetimes can really be connected together in a big way, because it was almost like a parallel life I mean, it was completely
Yeah.
different, but the same sort of lesson being learned.
Yeah, and my grandmother, very kind, loving woman, and I always said I was her favorite, and she had 45 grandchildren.
Mm-hmm.
But she always treated me like I was her favorite, so that was the main thing. So, yeah.
And that's who this vendor was in this other life, right? The one that kind of took
Yeah.
you.
Yes. Yeah, she was my grandmother from this life. So, yeah, it was, whoops, wait. And she, let's see, what else was I going to say about that? I forget. Anyway, doesn't matter. But,
I had a question about the hide.
Okay.
How big is that drum that you ended up making?
It was a 16-inch drum, and I had this big, huge piece of hide, and it was thick and very heavy. And Gary says, it was summer, about 4 years ago, and he says, we'll just soak it in that little pool out in the backyard, and then the next day it would be soaked and ready for people coming over, and there were several of us going to make drums. And I went out there and looked in, and I went, oh, my God, my hide's gone. Where did it go? And we start looking around, and everybody thought it was the dog from next door, but I just couldn't wrap my mind around that this dog had taken this big hide, you know?
Yeah, and then it just disappeared off the face of the earth.
Yes. Because we went over to their house, they let us look around and everything, and there was no hide anywhere to be found. So whoever took it, we all teased that it was Bigfoot.
Definitely could be. That would be really cool if we can make a... Did you see the movie Harry and the Hendersons with the Bigfoot that hung out with the family?
Yes.
Oh, I loved that movie when I was a kid. I don't know. I watched it several times, but I thought that was such a cool character and that it would be cool. Even if they don't look quite like that, that's totally cool. If, as long as they don't smash us or something. So if they're peaceful, multi-dimensional beings and stuff, that sounds really neat to come across one like that.
Yes, and if they feel our love, they're going to be loving.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
maybe
so
they'll bring my hide back.
Yeah, you got room to bring your drum along?
Yes, I'm bringing it.
Oh, okay, awesome. Yeah, I'll bring my little finger drums too, and we can all make a little drum circle, and it'll be fun. Yeah. So anybody got tambourines or shakers or maracas or
and I have a flute also.
Oh, nice.
And
an actual flute?
Rattles that we made. Yeah, a Native American flute. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So,
well, I took flute when I was in high school, or middle school, I'm sorry, in the band. I played just the regular flute, so I don't know how it differs from that.
Well, this is more like you think of those, what do they call them?
Recorders?
Recorders, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I
so
would
it doesn't...
say it's more like that.
You don't hold it to the side like a traditional flute or piccolo. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
We can have some fun.
So, yeah, we have 3 drums, so we have 2 rattles, and I'm bringing them all. So we'll...
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so I was worried we'd be lacking in the drum department, but if you bring that, we'll be good. Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Along with whatever everyone else brings. So I'm super excited about this whole trip, and I know everybody else is getting pumped up about it. Mike lives so close to it, and I was like... Because he mentioned being near Portland or something, and somewhere I saw him chatting, and I was like, man, you're like right there. You should come out and meet with us, because you could drive there in an hour and a half. And Mike, My Sky's 5D in the chat.
Oh, my gosh, yes. If he's that close, he better come out, huh?
Yeah, you got to come meet with us. $10 to get in. It's either per car or per person. I don't really know if you're not staying there. It's real reasonable. Is it per person? So, yeah you could.
Yeah, it was per person.
Yeah, so Friday and Saturday, if you're not staying there, you can come and spend the day there and just get in for $10, hang out, and hopefully make contact.
Don't they say you have to leave? Don't they say you have to leave at 8:00 though if you come for the day?
I think Dan says they close the gates at 9, but when you register, you get a gate code. So there's not someone actually working the gate. I guess you just get, once you register, you'll get the gate code, and then that will let you in when you get to the ranch. And then I guess they close it for the night at 9 p.m. That's what I read on the forum. Dan had said. I thought it was 8 too, so maybe I need to double check that. Because 8 it'd still be kind of light out, I think.
Somebody said, well, I'm sure we can work out a deal with them and let our crowd stage after the sightings and everything. So
Yeah,
whatever.
I don't know. I'm sure they're reasonable.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so if you guys don't remember, Rita's the one that captured the those energy beams with her game camera she had set up on her property, and we showed those images. I don't know, a few different times. So you guys probably remember that, but I was telling her, I'm like, you know what? It'd be cool if you could strap that to a tree, and maybe we can catch a Bigfoot while we're all asleep, and we can review.
I forgot to tell Gary. What do you think, Gary? He's saying, yeah, we can. So,
yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Because I'd heard somebody left an apple out, and one came and took it in the middle of the night or something like that.
And what about that one radio show, talk show guy? I don't know who it was there, and the juvenile one came right up in his face and then turned around and ran away.
Oh, really? I didn't hear about
Lewis.
that. Which DJ
Clyde
was it?
Lewis.
Oh, Clyde Lewis?
Clyde. Yeah.
Clyde Lewis.
Yeah. He's on the midnight show just before George Norrie.
Oh, okay.
On our radio, anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that Late Night in the Midlands, or what's the name of that show? Late Night in the Midlands?
No.
Like Ground Zero, I think.
Ground Zero?
Ground Zero, okay. Yeah, a lot of people like that. So I didn't realize how many people listen to Coast, and just didn't tell anybody about it. But so many people listen to that. You know, it's like people's secret thing that they listen to, but they don't really talk about it because I guess it's becoming more common these days, though.
You know, I have a cool story about that. When I met Gary, I didn't know about Coast to Coast, and him and I went on a trip out to Arizona from Michigan, and we were listening. Well, we drove straight through 3 days, drove straight through, and just stopped and slept a little bit and took turns driving and all that. And we were out in Arizona, and we were up in the hills just before you come down from the north down into Phoenix, and we had stopped to sleep a while, and I couldn't sleep, and I was listening to George Norrie say, talk to a truck driver who was talking about that exact same spot we were in and telling about the UFOs he saw from there. So then I couldn't sleep. I was looking for those UFOs. And of course I didn't see any, but
I'm pretty sure we will at E-SETI.
Oh yeah. We've gotten too many confirmations that we're going to. Yes.
And I think our group is, a loving, powerful group that, probably a lot of it. It's probably a lot of our family up there is what I kind of figure.
Yeah. Right. So, and why are we going there? To see them. So why shouldn't we?
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, I expect it to be a lot of fun, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Yes. And you can all identify, Gary and I will have the big red pickup truck with the, what's it called, Gary? Shadow Cruiser RV. We're going to be towing a 25-foot trailer. So that will be us with the big red truck and the camper trailer.
The party trailer, it sounds like. That's awesome.
Yeah, there we go. If it rains, we all meet in our trailer. Yeah. How many did you say? 50?
Gosh, I'll have to get a head count on it. I do know there's a meditation room that's sort of a big room everybody gathers in to meditate. So I guess if it's real bad, we can go in there. But I plan on the weather being good. There's a lot of synchronicities around that date and everything. And Angela Gabrielle, the one I had on that had the messages from her son. His birthday is the 9th, so we get to celebrate her son that passed away, his birthday on the 9th, that Friday, and I'm just expecting it to be a good time.
Is she going to be there?
What's that?
Is she going to be there?
Oh, yeah, she's going to be there. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, Angela Gabrielle is coming with Not So Fancy Nancy, actually.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
That's neat.
And then
Wow.
I know Biker Babe's coming. I think she's meeting up with some people on the way or something. So there'll
That's
be a lot of
us.
people there.
We're going to go to the UP, and we're going to travel together and camp at night together on the way out. So,
Oh, okay. That'd be awesome. Yeah, I was trying to get her to give me a motorcycle ride when she's there. That'd be cool. Never rode on a Harley.
Ah, there you go.
No pressure, though. If she doesn't want to, that's cool.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So
okay,
you're,
well, that's wonderful.
well, didn't you say you're doing another trip? Is this going to be at the tail end? Is E-SETI at the tail end of your other trip or at the beginning?
It's the beginning. I have a 50th class reunion on Saturday, and we're leaving out on Sunday and then have 4 days to get there, so we should be there by Thursday.
Oh, okay.
We wanted to have plenty of time.
Yeah.
Yep, no problem. We'll be there.
Yeah, you can't move
And then
really
we're going to
fast
go
with those.
visit. Pardon?
I say you can't move really fast with a trailer like that. It takes a little longer, but you got everything with you, so it's worth it.
Right. I think we'll make it just fine. But then we're going to go visit Gary's son in Oregon, and then my cousins. And so, yeah, we're going to make like a 3-week trip of it. So it'll be great. We are long overdue for a vacation, so this will be wonderful.
It's a great time of year to travel, too, if you live up north.
Sure. Yep.
Yeah. Well, awesome. Well, let me see. There was something else about the the dragon energy. You know, that came up today in a session. Someone saw this dragon fire coming out, like it was in the sky. It was just symbolic, but it was blowing fire at the earth, but it was turning into energy when it got to the earth, and the earth was glowing with this dragon energy. And I'm like, what? How is this coming up over and over again? And it came up today. That way, I know she didn't know about your session. So it's not like, so time and time again, this happens where you have these, like the dragon energy came up in your awareness and you shared it with me in your session. And then it came up again today by someone that had no idea, about this whole, and then of course, April had her session and it had the dragons in it. And I just think it's really interesting, the symbols that are used,
Yes. Yes, for some reason, dragon energy is becoming very prominent, so there must be something to it. And April, if I draw you a dragon, when I said my higher self said, maybe Rita will draw you one, I didn't realize it was 7-headed, so we'll see what Rita can do. But it would be fun trying.
Yeah, you might have to use some perspective tricks and have one big head in the front covering the back ones or something. I don't know.
There you go. So, yeah.
Maybe it'd be easier to draw smaller ones.
Challenge.
Yeah. But yeah, that'd be cool. And once again, this blue electric energy that keeps coming through in different sessions. So I don't know. There's a lot of connections with the different sessions, and it's so cool that it's coming from different sources. I don't know. It's just an exciting time, because I've read Dolores Cannon books. And I've always enjoyed hearing her stories, but I never imagined I could experience stuff like that firsthand with people. And it really is it's fun to go on journeys with people,
Oh, yeah, I want to do that too. After our trip, we will save up the money and we will do that, Gary and I. So
take the course together?
Yes.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Absolutely.
If you could take one with like someone you're living with, a sibling or a spouse, and then you guys can give each other sessions. That would be really, really cool.
Yes. So, yep, that's what we plan on doing. So.
Well, one thing that comes, Caleb's mentioning dragon in Japan. One of the things that came up from the work of Matthew LaCroix was the fact that you could follow the serpent and the eagle and the serpent all through history, and whoever has the eagle in their insignia or their country's logo or flag or whatever is more of the conquering, dominating force. supported by Enlil, if you follow all the ancient Sumerian stuff. And then the dragon, or the reptile energy, was from Enki, I guess. And so it was like you have the eagle, the conquering force, and then you have the serpent represented knowledge. So you can actually see where the different countries that went around and created libraries and stuff like that were all the dragon countries, right? And then you can see how the eagle countries came around and destroyed those libraries. I mean, all through history, thousands of years of this, he's tracked it all back, and it's amazing to see these invisible forces behind these countries. That's been like the eagle suppressing information while the dragon was trying to spread the knowledge and the information. So that's what I think of typically. If I think of, the dragon energy, I think of it as being, knowledge or light, enlightenment.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's cool. And then what is it, Quetzalcoatl or something? Isn't that a dragon?
Yeah, the Mayan.
To it,
yeah, because he has the dragon plume. That's where the Native Americans come up with that plume on their head too, is the dragon, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those feather plumes, or whatever they call it. And of course,
it's just so fun to.
Go ahead.
It's just been so fun to wake up and learn all this stuff, and well, we already knew it. We're just remembering it, but yeah, it's just so cool that it's all coming together and we're finding each other, and it is exciting.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah, just to come together at a time like this. And I always think of that Daniel scripture about people running to and fro and knowledge increasing. And it really is. It's like never have we had this type of, information at our fingertips. And then the veil coming down. This sort of, and the whole word apocalypse. We typically think of it as some kind of cataclysmic event where everything's destroyed. But if you look at the word, it means an unveiling or revealing or a revelation. The apocalypse of John was the revelation of John. So it's really revealing something, not destroying the world like has been portrayed around that word apocalypse. So it really is like we're in an apocalypse, but not in the scary fashion that Hollywood has trained us to think of,
Yes, yes. Yeah, and it's so wonderful. Isn't it so wonderful to let go of the fear about everything? And like I was saying in my session, let go of the steering wheel and just to let it be, and things are happening, and it's so much more smooth ride than being afraid of what might happen and what did happen and all of that stuff. Fear is not a good thing. I love to be in the love mode.
Yeah, and to let go of all that fear. Tanya's saying that she saw, I've been seeing dragon-shaped clouds, and that was something else I got today, that the person with the session said that they had seen a dragon-shaped cloud. So I think a lot of times when I'm outside meditating, I see all sorts of stuff in the clouds, and I think sometimes your perception can be shifted to show you things if you're just paying attention. I've shared how I saw the whole line, and the sky was filled with lions and lambs when I first came across that Mandela effect change scripture, and I'm pondering it, walking around in my backyard, and I look up and I see lions and lambs everywhere in the sky. And it was,
oh my God.
It was wild,
Well, John Benny, I've been sharing my paintings with him. I don't know, I sent him that one, and he put it on his green screen behind one of his songs, and I was so tickled when he did that. So I always share my paintings with him, and when I sent him the dragon, he says, I've been seeing dragons in the sky all around here.
Wow.
So, see, there's another. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And they're not, there's a lot of fear surrounding them, but if you sort of let go of that fear and just realize that, there's just a variety of creatures, and, there's really no need to be fearful about it. I mean, we might look scary. It's like, look at those skin creatures without hair on them to Bigfoot, Where's their hair? So, yeah, it's a lot of fun. And And I'm so glad your session went really well and you got something from it. And thank you so much for sharing it too.
Oh, you're welcome. I just see Gary signed on as one Skyhop, and he's saying hi, Shane.
Oh, I missed it.
So, how about that? He's on our chat. How about that?
Oh, there you are.
Yeah. So, okay. Well, if anybody's ready to talk, I guess I'm all talked out. So, thank you for sharing that, and thank you for letting me come on and talk with you. And I love
thanks
you
for sharing
all.
it. Yeah, and thanks for sharing it. And we'll be talking more before the trip. So. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Lots of love to you, Rita. Thank you again.
You too. Bye-bye.
Let's go.
You're listening to the Love Stream.
Unbiased and on the fence.
Alrighty, let's go. Well, I guess they hung up. We'll give you guys some time to call in if you'd like. Phone lines are open. I will put the international numbers on the screen. Ooh, let me move that logo out of the way. Let's see here. Okay, got the logo out of the way. International numbers are on the screen. And don't forget, you can actually join from the web if you'd like. Just go to the web address that's below. It's www.talkshoe.com/show/lovestream. And you can just click that in the description box below the video if you like. Let's see. Hey, Atsuko. Welcome. Let's see. All right. Looks like things are getting handled in the chat. I appreciate the moderators. Let's see. Okay, numbers on the screen. Please do feel free to call. I will put some wing makers on for now. Hopefully set the mood a little bit. Can't go wrong with wing maker stuff here, so.
What do?
Yeah, really cool. This stuff's supposed to be activating. You can look it up online on YouTube. Just put in wing makers music. Hours and hours of activating music. Okay, so I don't have a head count yet for people going to E-SETI, but I will contact E-SETI. I know a lot of people are wanting to bring, there's artists and people that want to bring different things to give out to other people, and you're wanting to know how many to make sure you have enough. So I will definitely, I'm estimating 50 or so right now. I think that's probably a pretty close number. But I will definitely, since everybody has the register, I will find out, and then we can do a couple of extra, bring a few extra, just in case there's some people that's late to register. And but I will get that head count pretty soon. And I know a lot of people that are going to register still haven't registered, so it would kind of be a waste to try to follow it at this point. But as soon as I know, I will let you guys know. I will post it, and that way, if you guys are bringing something, it's not a requirement or anything, but some people create things and they love to share their art and have something, a piece of them for people to take home with them. And for those who do feel led to do something like that, we'll get a head count for you. All right, we're going to go back to the phone lines. Alyssa, are you here? And am I saying your name right now that I've turned the music down and I can hear you?
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. Where are you calling in from? Oops. I think you might have a bad connection. I can't hear you. You're cutting out. Oh. I think you're in a bad area. I'm only getting little pieces. I'll give it a second. Maybe it's just... There we go. I think you're back.
That's rough. I'm wondering if I should pull over. I'm actually driving through the middle of Montana right now, and I've got you on speakerphone. And it might be hit or miss, so maybe I should just find a nice place to stop.
Yeah, that'll be all right. Are you traveling, or
Yeah.
is that where you live?
I live in Montana, yeah. Just in between towns right now. So if you live in Montana, then you know that, like, to get from one town to the other, you drive like 100 miles. So
It's like all rural, right?
Right. It's pretty rural, yeah. It's very beautiful right now. So.
Oh yeah, I love Montana. I know they film a lot of movies there, don't they?
Yeah, this is the spot, especially this time of year. We're actually filming a movie just south of Billings right now.
Yeah, I noticed as a photographer, it's really hard to get images without, power lines and towers and stuff in it. So that's probably a pretty good place to go and get a natural view of nature without, all the man-made stuff junking it up.
Oh my goodness, it's super epic right now. The lights are coming through the clouds and making all the rays shining down on the extremely verdant hillsides.
Mm-hmm.
It's quite magical right now. Yep.
Very nice. So how long have you been a listener?
You just cut out on me right there. You still hear me?
Yeah. How long have you been a listener?
Okay. I've been listening to you, Shane, for about a year.
Mm-hmm.
Possibly longer, but that's pretty accurate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm getting a little bit of an echo, but I'll let you talk. You can share whatever you called in for.
Well, I honestly, I called in because you had the Wingmakers going, and I've been thinking I should call for kind of a while and waiting for the right moment. And so an opportunity presented itself, and I took it. But yeah, I've been listening to you and Michelle Wolf talk for quite a bit. And not only do I get a kick out of you guys, because you have an excellent dynamic together, you can really tell that you guys have a good connection, and that's super beautiful. And the way that you guys share information together is fabulous.
Yeah, I think we've been brother and sister for many lives.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, I get it 100%. I'm picking up everything you guys are throwing down, and yeah, it's just fantastic. And I was listening just the other day about the dreams and the synchronicities, and boy, I'm telling you, it is off the charts for me right now. It's just it's fantastic. It's really good to be a part of it. And to hear all the validation, like when you guys are talking about it, and then you have your listeners call in, and they're validating what you're saying. I mean, it's just incredibly helpful for everybody that is experiencing that. If they don't have someone, then what a great thing to offer people. So yeah, I'm all about it.
Yeah, that's awesome. So what's your story? What's your journey been like?
Oh, geez. I don't know. You know, I think what kicked it all off is that I saw a couple of UFOs tracing across the sky at a rate that was pretty much impossible in broad daylight. And I knew it wasn't just me because every car on the road slowed down to like 50 miles an hour on an 80-mile-an-hour road, and everybody was staring in the same direction. And I just was like, okay, that happened. And so I started researching that community, trying to kind of figure out what that might mean, you know, that I saw that. And I don't know, I just kind of had to put it in a right place or whatever. And that just led me on a... Yeah.
I was gonna ask if you felt like you've had other experiences.
Yeah, I've been having a lot. I think last summer or 2017 really hit it off when I started seeing the light come down from the sky in a completely different way. And I thought, that's definitely different. I wonder if it's smoky, but then it wasn't. And then it just never stopped, and it got brighter and more colorful over the years. And at this point, like, honestly, on the right day, I'm seeing some amazing light shows in the sky. Almost every single day I see pink, I see purple, I see, sometimes I even see gold and yellow just in the light rays. And I've been seeing the rainbow clouds everywhere, and it's just been epic. Plus just the experiences I've had with my body going through all these different symptoms. Like when you guys are talking about the heart palpitations, that's no joke. That's for real. That's absolutely happening to people. And not just me, but like people I know that have no idea, that have no connection to any of this information at all. They're like, I've been having chest pains. I went to the doctor. I don't have any problems. They said I was in great health, but I'm definitely having these chest pains. I'm having super bad headaches. I'm super tired. I'm lethargic. I feel like I'm going through something and I don't know what it is. And they're right. They are going through something, and they don't know what it is. But anyways, that's kind of been my journey. Yeah.
What's been your experience?
I've been learning as I go.
Sorry, there's a little bit of a delay. I guess people can probably hear it coming through late. But did you have any experience with the Mandela effect?
Oh my gosh! As soon as I came across those, like, yeah, my life. Here's a good one. This is the one that really, really put it over the top for me. It's pretty minor, but it was the Jiffy peanut butter. Oh, and yeah. I was like, wait a minute. With a name like Jiffy, it's got to be good.
Right.
And like that's the commercial, right?
Yeah.
Like no doubt about it. And then mirror, mirror on the wall.
Yeah.
Like there's so many validations in pop culture. Yeah, it's great, but I think it's just shifting. I really do believe. I think Michelle Wolf is on the right track with her perception of how there's just a lot of shifting going on, and it's we're carrying our perceptions with us is kind of how I see it. I mean, I don't really have a perfect perception on it, but there's definitely, I mean, I can tell when I'm shifting.
Yeah.
And I can kind of sense it. And just the other day, I had a moment where I was just driving along and I passed a sign, because I do a lot of driving, if you can't tell. Mm-hmm. And about 10 minutes later, I passed that same sign again. And I just kind of got really calm. The light was really peaceful. Everything was really bright. It was a super blissed out state. Then when I got to the gas station, I noticed that the Conoco symbol was different. There was and there still is, an upside down triangle underneath the Conoco word. And I was like, look at that. That's new. I have never seen that before. I like drive by Conoco every day, and I have never noticed that before. And I'm a graphic designer, and I notice these things. So, but that moment, like when I drove by the sign and then I drove by the sign again, and I was in a completely blissed out state, I was shifting, and I absolutely knew I was shifting. And then after that, I noticed those things, and they were different. I mean, this is not something I can necessarily peg down, but I can identify the déjà vu, and the state of consciousness that I was in was really, really high when that happened, for sure.
I'm looking at some of these pictures with the triangle, the upside down triangle, and that's so weird. I've never seen that.
Yeah, that's brand new. I've never seen that before. And that was just last week for me anyways. One of the things about the Mandela effect that's kind of trippy is it seems to hit people at different times. Like somebody can be like, oh, I noticed that 4 years ago. And it just came into your awareness.
Yeah.
So, like, somehow, like, it has to do with that shifting, though. Your awareness of things in different states. I don't know. But it's been an interesting journey, and I'm 100% on board with whatever it is that we're doing here, you know.
Absolutely.
I'm all about it. I'm going to do everything I can.
Are you planning on making the trip out to E-SETI by any chance?
No, there's no way I can do it. I'm a single parent and I work 70 hours a week.
I totally understand. I just thought since you're in Montana, it might not be that far.
It would be nice, and you never know. You really don't ever know. I haven't put my focus on that though.
But you're already getting contact too.
I don't know what's going on. Like, I definitely saw some stuff and had some experiences, but
were you able to capture it again?
No, it was it was like in a blink of an eye. What it was is I was coming over a path, which is kind of like where you traverse a mountain range, go over the top of it to get from one side to the other, and the road goes over. Mm-hmm. And on the right side of the sky, which is a pretty expansive sky from where I was at, there were two crafts that looked like Mentos candy, mm-hmm. and they were white, and they were in absolute tandem movement, tracing after each other, and they moved across from the right-hand side of the panorama to the left-hand side in like less than a second. It was super fast, but I could clearly see that like they appeared to be white, and they appeared to have that like Mentos shape to them, and then they were gone. But I wasn't the only one, because everybody on the road slowed down. They were all looking to the left, trying to like figure out what that was.
Was it in the daytime?
It was, yeah, it was.
So it's hard to know if they were white or glowing?
They did not seem to be glowing. They seemed to be pretty solid white. Mm-hmm. 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 Yeah.
Well, that's excellent.
And they did just disappear. Like, you know, as they got to the left side. I mean, I couldn't see them anymore, so I don't know where they wound up going because their trajectory was cut off by them disappearing.
But it seemed like other cars were seeing it too, huh?
Oh, yeah, it was obvious that everybody saw it. Everybody slowed down. Everybody was thrown off, you know.
It didn't seem to make a sound or anything?
No, it was completely silent. Yeah. And they couldn't have been that far away. Otherwise, we wouldn't have seen it. Just
So
with the
how
way
big
that-
would you say they were? Like a small car?
They would have been larger than a 747 airplane.
Oh, wow. That's pretty big.
Yeah. I mean, it was a pretty great distance, you know, but if it was an airplane, I wouldn't, they would have been much smaller.
Yeah.
Even a large airplane, they would have been much, much smaller. And there's no way that an airplane can move that fast. They just don't. So.
Well, that's really cool. So that was that really your first experience with UFOs?
Yeah, it was my first and my last. I see, like, twinkling. I'm paying attention to the sky a lot, and I've never seen anything like that before or since. But it definitely sent me right down the rabbit hole.
Oh, yeah. Have you had any other kind of paranormal experiences?
Well, ever since then, absolutely. I mean, I have times when I'm just sitting there and, like, my whole body starts buzzing.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't explain it. There's been times that I feel like I'm getting, like, you know what a cattle prod is? They're not excellent devices. They basically shock an animal. I felt that in my side a couple times out of the blue. Don't know what it is. It's kind of like a weird electrical buzzy feeling, but very localized. Yeah, I've had times.
That's like getting zapped, right?
Yeah, I've been zapped. I've been zapped a lot recently. And definitely with those times when I'm meditating and my whole body starts to just literally buzz at an incredibly fast rate. And I kind of feel like something's about to happen. But then nothing does happen and it slowly fades away. But it's really, really real. You know, there's nothing else to compare it to other than that experience. Yeah, but it's very physical. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Have you had any missing time or anything? Have you considered getting abducted or anything?
I've had a lot of missing time recently. Yeah. And I don't know what it is. It's almost like I'm going into so deep into the now moment, like within myself that like a large amount of time can pass and I don't really seem to be experiencing it. I don't know. I mean, but it does seem to be like 1 minute I'm getting ready for work and I should have like an hour, and all of a sudden if I don't leave in 5 minutes I'm going to be late to work and I have no idea what happened, like how that time got lost, you know.
Yeah. Ronnie's wanting to know if the cattle prod feeling is painful.
It's not really like painful. Like the heart palpitations are really painful and scary. And I did go into the doctor and get that checked out, and they're like, "You're in perfect health." And I'm like, "Well, okay." I mean, for a while they were really, really bad, and that was last year in March. And then they came back for a little bit this year, and they've gotten better. You've had that happen, right?
I've had the buzzing like when I'm waking up.
Oh, really? Like when you're just coming out of your dream state?
Exactly. It's like I bring back the buzzing feeling with me. Or when I'm going to sleep, sometimes I'll get it. Like I'm going out of body. Have you had any out of body experiences?
I have not. I have not had that happen. I would be totally open to it, but I do feel like sometimes when I'm having that buzzing state that something's about to happen. And then maybe there's like a kernel of fear of the unknown that might be anchoring me and keeping me from moving beyond that.
Absolutely. That's
That's
what
kind
happened
of
with me.
my sense is there's that little kernel of, like, what if something happens and I don't make it back and, like, dinner burns or I don't go pick up the kids, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's definitely that, like, extreme need to be present and accountable that I suspect that might have something to do with that, because I definitely feel there's something more that comes after that, but I don't ever get there. I don't know what it is. Yeah.
I wonder if, can you take me off of speaker by any chance? Maybe that'll help the echo.
Yeah, I can do that. Hang on just a second. Is that better?
Oh, yeah, that's, well, let's see if my voice is coming back through. My voice was just coming back through just as loud as yours, so I was trying to. That's why I had short sentences, because I was trying to finish it before it started coming back through. But, so yeah, I think fear can hold us back a lot. I know when I had my out-of-body experience, I rolled over to wake up my wife because I thought I was having a health issue, like, because my whole body was tingling, like maybe my heart stopped beating and my whole body felt like it was falling asleep. So I had these tingles all over, and I rolled over to wake her up because I thought maybe my heart stopped or something. And then I went to wake her up, and I realized I'd never moved. I kept rolling out of my body. I kept rolling out of my body, having an out-of-body experience, and then popping back into my body. And at one point, I actually stood up, and I felt the floor and the ceiling and the walls, and then I popped back into my body again. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm still in the bed, and it was, I don't know, it was just really weird. And then what finally did it for me is I heard my phone notification go off, and I just focused on that sound and moved towards it, and I was really standing at that point and really up. But yeah, fear can hold us back a lot, and I think, but that's going into sleep. I'm not really sure, you know, when you're sort of getting that. Ronnie had said that if it's not painful, it sounds like the electric water feeling that she's been getting. Would you explain it like a watery electric feeling?
Well, I don't know what that is.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't compare it to that. But
well, like when
it's just like getting, like, there's literally a physical, like, reaction to it, and I can feel the zap.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if there was a sound effect, it would sound like zzz.
So it just
But there's
buzzes
no
you.
sound effect.
And you said it's really localized, like on your side, did you say?
Yeah, it's usually on my side. Yeah.
Is it the same side? Or does it switch sides?
It's been on my right side. It's happened on my right side.
Okay.
Yeah. I never really thought about that, but I don't remember it ever happening on my left side. But boy, it's like for real. Like, I'm like, okay. Well, that's super neat and weird and
Wow, that's amazing. So yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, because if somebody else is experiencing it, or, you know, like the way Ronnie's describing it and you're describing it, it could be you guys are just, because if there's nothing like it, it's hard to compare it to something. So you'll just sort of try to explain it the best you can. But if it doesn't feel like something specific, I can see how people can be describing the same thing a little bit differently, you know?
Yeah, because it's not even superficial. Like, it's not really just on the skin. It's kind of like there's an actual space that it's within. There's some substance there. It's within the muscle tissue. So, yeah.
Wow. So is it similar to hitting your? Is it similar to hitting your funny bone, like a?
No, it's nothing like that. It is so much more than that.
Okay.
It's way beyond that.
Does
it's
it feel
what
like
you would imagine being, like, electrocuted by something, but it not hurting.
Does it feel like your muscles tense up like they would if it was electricity?
The muscles in that specific area do react to it. That's what makes it so visceral.
Right. I was just kind of wondering, because I know I've went to like the chiropractor, and they'll put those little pads on your back that feel like you're being shocked in that specific place, and it doesn't hurt, but it feels very electric. So I was kind of wondering if it was similar to that, but I knew my muscles would tense up whenever the electric would get stronger. I could actually feel my muscles contracting by themselves. So I was wondering if it was similar, if it was really electricity you were
Yeah,
feeling.
I think it's similar to that, but there's a lot more of an intense kind of buzz to it. It's not. That's a lot milder of an experience, and I know what that is. But yeah, it's kind of neat. It's not painful, so I don't worry about it. But I definitely worry about the.
Did I lose you? You worry about the what?
Oh shoot! Hang on just a second.
Okay.
Oh no, I need to just breathe and like relax and bring myself to a happier place, and it does calm down those heart palpitations a lot.
Yeah, also magnesium helps. I wanted to let people know if you're having lots of heart palpitations, if you get some magnesium, they're like just little pills you can get for a few bucks, and take those. And just like you would take potassium for leg cramps, you can take magnesium if you're having a lot of those heart palpitations.
Right, yeah, you can do that.
Yeah, and it does help.
A little bit of magnesium, it helps you sleep better and everything.
Yeah.
And you don't even have to take that orally. You can buy the magnesium flakes and dissolve it in hot water, and then just put it in a spray bottle. I mean, there's instructions on that if you buy it in for that purpose. There's lots of instructions. It's pretty much a 50-50 ratio. You kind of melt the flakes down into the water and put it in a spray bottle and spray it on your skin. You can buy it in a health food store, but that's expensive. This is practically free. And that's what I do that. Been doing that the last year. Maybe that's why they've gone away.
Yeah. Have you been having the painful gas fillings like in your torso area, like just all around in your stomach and chest and things that we talked about, or no?
Yeah, I've had the little bubbles, where it feels like they're,
little painful gas bubbles or something?
Super sharp,
Mm-hmm.
horrible pain. Yeah.
Well, that's funny because I used to have heart palpitations all the time, and I used to have to take, religiously have to take magnesium to keep from having the heart palpitations. And when I found out our hearts had moved from the Mandela effect, I realized, I'm like, oh my gosh, I haven't had to, because what I do is I typically would forget to take them, and I'd feel the heart palpitations come on, and then I would, take it because I remembered it. But then at some point, they didn't ever come back. And so I attributed that to the heart moving and the whole Mandela effect thing, because I remember my heart being on the left side. Matter of fact, the other day when I had one of those sharp gas pains, it was right where my heart used to be, and I remember feeling like, is that my heart before? But now I'm like, it's for sure not my heart now. It's not even over there.
Definitely not your heart when it's that low down.
Right.
Weird spots. Yeah, well, you would hope not anyway, with the way the human body's been morphine, and apparently, what is it now that our heart's in the middle of our chest?
Yeah, and a lot higher. It's like between our lungs. Yeah.
I do notice that my lung capacity has increased dramatically, and it's kind of amazing sometimes. It's just absolutely amazing how much air I can bring into my body.
That's funny that you're mentioning that, and these changes that we're all experiencing. I know, like the hands are one. They were talking about how the thumb comes out a lot lower than it used to, and I kind of thought if you look at it too long, your thumb will look kind of funny. And I thought, is it all in my head? Is it really moving? It does look lower, and I'm like looking at my hand. So I hadn't really thought much of it, because I can't be sure. It's on my body. You would think I'd notice if it changed drastically, and it does look funny. I'm not going to say that it doesn't, but I don't know.
It does look funny.
So I'm looking at how low my thumb is. So I was playing my guitar, and I realized that I've never been able to use my thumb. I always just use my thumb on the back of the fretboard. I never use it to hit the top E to play different chords and stuff, because it was just way too uncomfortable.
That is so crazy that you're saying that.
Really?
Oh my gosh. I was literally just going to tell you, and I knew I thought you played the bass, but yeah. But I'm having the same experience with my guitar. I suddenly have this incredible amount of control and power that I never had before, and it's because that I have more of a grip. I have a better wraparound. than I used to have.
Yep, and your thumb can reach the E string now. I mean, I can like play
Yeah,
an F.
it can.
And I was blown away. I'm like, well, when did this happen? I never could use my thumb. And I'm like learning. I'm like, well, let me go. And I'm trying different songs that I used to have to really reach and try to hit the E string with one of my other fingers. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so much easier now that I can use my thumb. And I knew like,
That's a really
like John
good idea.
Mayer. John Mayer does it all the time, but he's like trained himself to do it. So for me, I never used my thumb up on the string. It was always in the back. But now I can stretch it up there and use it. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's true. It applies to the piano as well. I don't know if you play piano, but my
yeah, I do.
spread
I
on the
haven't
piano is kind of nice too.
Yeah. That's amazing. You can reach
funny.
those octaves nicely. And I did notice I could reach over an octave easier than, because normally my hand would just reach an octave, my left hand on the bass hand or whatever. I could play an octave pretty easily. And now I notice I can reach further now. So I guess that's all. I can attribute all of that to the Mandela effect maybe then. Who knows?
Maybe, or maybe we're getting upgrades. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it is.
Who knows,
I think it's DNA upgrades.
Yeah, it could very well be that. And, we might be getting reality upgrades too. That we're really not. I mean, like, it's so hard to see it when you're in it. You're in the fishbowl. You have no idea what's going on, but you're kind of having some glimpses of it or whatever. But yeah, I mean, that could very well be what's going on. We've got all this crazy light coming in, and what exactly it's doing, and on all the dimensions that we're not privy to. Who knows? Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome. Awesome time to be alive. So are you excited about all the changes going on? Are you able to keep your vibes up and all that?
I really do put the concerted effort into keeping my vibes up, and I'm not 100% successful in that. I mean, there are those really low times when sometimes I'm aware of the fact that I seem to be processing those lower vibrations. Like there's an actual purpose for me experiencing it, and that if I can connect to that, it makes it a lot easier. I get out of that a lot faster. And it's never really that low, because I'm just generally a really, really happy person most of the time anyways. But and sometimes it's really not even mine. And that ownership thing's really important, where you can acknowledge that it doesn't belong to you, and still have the experience and acknowledge the experience at the same time. And that might be part of that collective processing that we're doing. Who knows? Maybe somebody else can't do that, and you're doing it for them.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And yeah.
Just transmuting that energy.
Yeah, pretty much. A lot of that. I'm doing a ton of it, and I'm doing it on purpose. And I'm fully aware of that, and happy to do it as much as I can. I don't think it exhausts me to do it at all. So, and that may not be true of everyone, but I don't feel that when I'm like genuinely and I have lots and lots of tricks. I got a bag of tricks that I've come up with for myself and adopted from other people to help myself do that in a pretty efficient way.
You care to share any of your tips?
It doesn't wear me out. Yeah, I can definitely do that. There's some tricks that I picked up from I can't remember her name right now. Anyways, I would love to give her a little bit of credit. Well, she does an energy clearing thing, and I just kind of adopted it, but I changed it up.
Is she a YouTuber?
That. Yeah, she is a YouTuber, and she's pretty stinking great. I wish I could remember her name right now, but I can't.
Is it a Luna Ash?
No, it's not a Luna Ash.
I'm trying to think of what other energy people. Come on, chat. You can chime in.
Remember.
They'll
anyways,
chime in, and I'll run them by you.
I imagine a fishing net made of light. And I allow myself to be enveloped by that fishing net of light, and I just slowly raise it up, and that fishing net of light transmutes the energy in my body as I raise it up. And I allow it to go all the way up above the crown of my head, and with the complete intention that as it does this, it is transmuting energy to a higher, more positive state.
Mm.
You know, I'm trying not to label that negative stuff too much because that makes it really, really hard to acknowledge it and process it.
Right.
You know, like it's bad or it's negative. I mean, it is, but if you can just kind of understand that it's just a type of energy or it just is in a certain state, you can transmute it a lot easier because it's more malleable that way. It's not as
that makes
thick.
a lot of sense. I like that. That's very good. Because
Yeah,
I've been
so I
having
use that
sort
a
of
lot.
that. I've been having sort of that, you know, you got to have a bad smell for the good smell to smell good kind of idea about everything. You know, you got to have black to see how white is, and you got to have the contrast. So I try not to.
I totally disagree with you on that, Shane. I really don't think that you have to have the bad experiences to appreciate the good, but to each their own. I'm just like, if I lived in the Garden of Eden, I would love it. And if I didn't know that I wasn't there before, I would probably still love it. But I don't know. You know,
it's,
you don't.
it's
really
hard
know.
to imagine.
It's just this duality thing that we kind of.
Yeah,
told
I
that
think,
a lot. I don't know if that's true.
Yeah, I don't know. I think of when I had my DMT experience and I felt like I merged back with Source for a while, and I had sort of this blissful, peaceful, loving feeling, and everything was great, you know, and I didn't even remember duality or being here. I didn't know who I was anymore. It was just, I was just at peace, you know, and so I don't know. But, you know, it wasn't, I wouldn't say it was exciting. It was nice. It felt comfortable. It felt great. But, you know, I can imagine doing that for billions of years. You might say, you know what, let's go have some fun with some duality, you know, that's all.
Maybe. Wow, that's amazing. Really.
Yeah.
I don't know how I missed that you did that. That's so profound.
It was a profound thing, but I always tell people.
How long did that last? You know?
It seemed like I was there for a while, but it was just a couple of minutes, probably 3 or 4 minutes of, you know, that blissful state I'm talking about. Because the whole thing was like 8 minutes, I think, you know, from when I looked at the clock and when I was aware enough to look at the clock again. It hadn't been long at all, and I was like, wow, just 8 minutes. I forgot who I was. I made it back to Source. I didn't have any questions to ask him when I got there because I became part of it. You know, it's like I merged with the light, and just I got to chill there for a few minutes and come back, and it seemed like it was at least hours, maybe an hour or something, you know, but it wasn't. It was just, it wasn't long at all. But, you know, I think about that all the time. I think that, you know, and it could be just the conditioning of this dualistic reality that we're in. It's not very fun to play Pac-Man if there aren't any ghosts, you know? It's like, you know, you're just going around eating pebbles and the little energy pills, and I don't know. It's just, we appreciate the opposition, if you will.
Yeah, I do understand that perspective.
Yeah.
Although I've been moving away from it pretty rapidly recently.
Mm-hmm.
I've just kind of like been like, I'm not so sure.
Right.
I feel like I've been bottle fed this, and I'm not so sure anymore. But who knows? Yeah.
But I think, you know, you can also have the higher perspective where you see everything working together for good ultimately. I mean, it's kind of hard when you're in 3D and you see all these atrocities and all this stuff happening, but when you back up from it and you see just sort of this higher level view of it and how everything seems to work out in the end, then you can kind of blur that line between what, you know, sort of where you have to take sides, if that's negative and that's positive, sort of like what you're getting at. It's just sort of a different way of explaining it, though. So I can totally see your perspective. That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah. I think that's essentially kind of what the law of one is always getting at, is that it doesn't matter how you get there. You will get there. And there's many different ways to get there. It's the journey, the path, what you take from it, and then eventually, no matter what, I mean, even if those super negatively polarized beings have to backtrack a whole heck of a lot to get there, they're still going to get there eventually, because that's where you're going.
Yeah, I'm totally with the law of one on that. Yeah.
Yeah, it does seem like there is an end game going on right now, though. Like, the energies are so incredibly potent right now.
Yeah.
And I was never one of those people. I really wasn't necessarily. I guess when I was a kid, I was pretty much like, everything's energy and I totally get it, and I was there. But I got away from that as an adult, and I'm coming back to that. But it's different. There's a whole lot of juju going on right now. Just a ton of it. I mean, if I can look outside and visually see that there is purple and pink light raining down from the sky on us every day, there's something going on, because I never saw that before.
Now, you're talking about energy, not northern lights, right?
Yeah, I'm talking about the actual light. And it's not just coming from the sun. And it took me a while to figure that out, because I'm seeing the rays of light, or whatever. That's how I describe it, because that's what it looks like to me. I'm seeing them coming from different directions. Like, for example, when the sun's going down, I can look over and see the rays of energy coming up from the east, as if the sun's about to come up in the east, but it's going down in the west, which is arguably improbable or impossible, but I see it nonetheless. And then, like, fanned out, like, from the, from a central spot, and then another central spot fanned out across the horizon, and it's just fantastic. I don't know why I'm seeing that, but I'm definitely seeing it. There's no doubt about it.
Do you think your eyes are perceiving more, April? And the chat was talking about that earlier, that perhaps our the valves coming down and the blinders on our eyes are actually being removed. And I started seeing orbs and stuff out of the corner of my eye, my peripheral vision. I don't know, probably a couple years ago, and now I've noticed that it's starting to move closer and closer to my actual line of sight. I'm seeing them just off, instead of it being way over in the corner of my eye, I'll see one, and from that telepathy 101 video I did, they talk about not to try to look if you see something in the corner of your eye, just to sort of perceive it, and just keep looking at it with your peripheral vision instead of actually turning your head. And I've been doing that and noticing that sometimes it'll flash again, or I'll get to see more of it by not trying to look at it, basically.
Yeah. I'm not necessarily seeing the orbs, and I'm not sure, I haven't seen the orbs, but I know that a lot of people are seeing that. And yeah, I mean, it's definitely something's going on, where there's a light show going on, and I can see it, and other people are seeing different aspects of it. Like, you're seeing that in your peripheral, and I wouldn't be surprised. Like, if it's slowly coming into your capabilities, you're coming into that capability that you have, and slowly developing, you'll probably be able to focus on that at some point. Because right now, like, at first I was just seeing these light rays and they were white, but then over time I started seeing, and it was the same thing where I really couldn't focus on it, because if I tried to focus on it, it was almost like it just dissolved, and I couldn't get a fix on the color. But now I can see that color, and I can see it distinctly. Like, I could paint you a picture of it, and it would be, exact. Like, you would be able to, the picture that I paint would look exactly like what I'm seeing. It's no longer dissolving or difficult to fix. It's absolute.
Very nice. So do you feel like it's something in your vision? Is it something you can take a picture of, or?
No, I've tried to take pictures of it, but I can't see it in a picture.
Oh, okay.
It's definitely my eyes, Like, I've really tried to take pictures of this stuff, because it's fantastic. And I can capture, like, the basic essence of the beauty of the rays of light or whatever, but I can't get the light colors that I'm seeing, or the auras that I'm seeing around trees and
Oh, that's
yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah, there's
So-
a lot going on right now.
So, our eyes can see a range of frequencies. So it only makes sense that if we're getting DNA upgrades, that range can easily increase and we begin to see more ultraviolet. I think one of the things that I realized is that, I guess it was around 2017, I noticed that I thought they had come up with like a new formula for fluorescent colors that you see on shoes and clothing and stuff like that, because it was so much brighter, and I'm like, wow, they've really figured this whole fluorescent color thing out.
Right,
And
they're
then,
really knocking it out of the park now.
yeah, and then I realized, I'm like, wait a minute, if we have more ultraviolet light coming in from the sun and it's hitting these fluorescent colors, they're gonna look brighter. It's sort of like a black light when you're in like a club and they've got the black lights on and all the white shirts and stuff are all glowing because you can't see the light, but you can see the ultraviolet light hit the white shirt and bounce the light off of it. And it's sort of like that with the sun. The sun is blasting us with all of these random frequencies, and ultraviolet light is one
really
that we can't see. And
but it's not just the sun, Shane, because this is happening at night, and we're seeing it in the clouds. I know I'm not the only one seeing the glowing clouds at night. And it's like super bright out, like with this like white light, where you can almost really see color at night when it's not even a full moon. Yeah, and it's not eerie, but it's definitely weird, and it did not used to be that way. And the sun's shining on China, so why do I see that?
Right. I've definitely been noticing all the rainbow clouds and colors. Even at night around the moon, you'll see a rainbow halo, just like in the daytime. Around the sun, you'll see it. Or it'll be a white one. I've seen them look white. But it's definitely something that just didn't happen all the time like you see nowadays.
Right, yeah. Oh, but you know what I've had success getting a picture of is the rainbow clouds. Yeah, I did get a picture of some rainbow clouds in Yellowstone Park. Last May, and there's no doubt about it. You zoom in on it, and there's like teal and purple and hot pink and all these super pretty colors inside the cloud, and the sun's not even behind it. It's like it's just lit up. Yeah. I have that. I could send that to you.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Yeah, I've captured some where I've like really turned down the shutter and toned down the color of the sun, and the clouds are so colorful it almost looks like they almost look toxic, like smoke bombs, like those colored smoke bombs at 4th of July. They're just so full of color.
Yeah, it's super bright.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no like, I'm not sure if that's color or not, like an oil slick or something. It's definitely defined, and yeah.
So I'm just wondering, that was like sort of before I even like woke up to all of this stuff going on. I started noticing the sun and the rainbow looking clouds and stuff, and rainbows just everywhere. Sometimes you'll just catch glimpses of iridescent rainbow colors, like walking into a store and you're like, where did those rainbow colors come from? I don't know, you're seeing it in the reflection of the glass. I'm not really sure where, but I started seeing rainbow iridescent colors everywhere, just the full spectrum prism of colors, and that's been happening quite a bit. So I still don't know if it's our eyes or what.
Well, there's definitely a shift going on in our reality, and who knows if it's just your body or if it's actually the external world around you as well. Whatever, I don't know.
Yeah, everything's processed.
But yeah, I've been seeing rainbows everywhere, and not just like real ones, but like on a sign or whatever. It's just like I'm getting bombarded with rainbow messaging constantly, and it's fabulous. Every time I see it, I'm like, all right, thank you.
I'm so glad you said the sign thing, because I've been really getting them on signs. If the sun hits them just right, I'm like, look, even the signs are rainbow now.
So they do have that reflective paint on a lot of signs, but
but
I mean,
they didn't go swap out all the signs.
Even if it's just a picture of a rainbow,
you're
seeing the rainbow, and that's like message received kind of thing.
Yeah, it's just like another little synchronicity. Have you been getting lots of synchronicities?
Ridiculous. It's so hilarious. It's so funny. I mean, I can't even quite I don't think I could explain it to most people. They would have no idea what I was talking about. They think I was crazy.
Yeah.
But the 1111, I got that forever. I still get that, but mostly what I see is combinations of 1s, 4s, and 2s. Yeah, but it's like every time I look at the clock, somehow it's always magically 11:44 or 1:44 or 4:41 or
Right.
I mean, like, I don't know how I only seem to look at the clock at that time, and I don't even know how many combinations of that there can be, but I definitely seem to see every single one of them every day.
Well, I know that personally, they've really branched out even beyond numbers. Like you'll be experiencing something and a song in the background will be almost singing about what's going on, or something on the TV, you'll overhear something that goes along, or maybe the same word is said, or maybe it finishes your sentence. Stuff like just really weird things. Like what you said, if you try to tell people, they're like, dude, you're crazy. You know?
So the other day I was driving, and I'm always driving, but I was like listening to another YouTube thing, and I was like, gosh, I listen to a lot of like this is kind of like all I do in my free time is explore this topic. And I was kind of like, am I overdoing this? Like, and I passed a sign for some restaurant, and I think it was advertising their coffee, but it literally said something like, is there such a thing as too awake? That's what it said. At that exact moment, I was like, oh, okay. Yeah.
Oh, man, I gotta love those. Yeah, I even saw a casino one. I can't even remember what it said on it. You know, all I could see was the tagline, and then as I got closer, I was like, oh, it's a casino one. But whatever it said was going along with what was going on in my head at the moment. I'm like, you know, when they made that sign, they had no idea I'd be driving by thinking of this in this very moment. That's impossible, you know.
Yeah, and it happens all the time, so it's not like just convenient for you, and you want it to be so much. It's literally like bombarding you, right? I mean, because that's what is going on with me. It's not like I'm seeking it out. It's almost like it's being dumped on me.
Yeah.
So, and for a while, that's kind of how the information was. I just felt like I was constantly being introduced to information, like constantly to, but it forced me onto this path. It was like a snowball effect, and it was really intense. It was like constant, more information, more. But the result of embracing it and going with it has been like pretty massive. And perspective-wise, I'm in a completely different place than I was like 3 years ago, and I was never a negative person really, but I can see it and go, okay, this transformation has been extremely profound, and it's because of what's going on. And there are
I was just going to ask. I was going to ask if you feel like you've been pushed away a little bit from the truth-seeking aspect of things as much as before, or you know.
Can you? I don't understand the question. I don't think.
Okay, so I've been dealing more with, you know, so there's this sort of balance between trying to be, you know, keep the vibes up and spread the love and the light and everything, but then there's the part of me that's always, you know, wanting to dive into a rabbit hole and, you know, seek truth, you know, and try to figure things out. And more I've been feeling like a lot of that stuff that's out there is more of a distraction to keep us from sort of transmuting this energy that's coming in, or focusing on that, or just to pull our vibes down. You know, if we get too pulled into, say, politics or religion or something, you know, viewing it and seeing it as a distraction more than it is, you know, just trying to sort of look at things without getting too pulled into them, I guess, is sort of the lesson I've been trying to learn, I guess.
Yeah, definitely the observer position is a good place to be.
Yeah, the observer.
And awareness. Everybody has their own path, though. You don't know. Something that might not be so good for you might in some way be part of another person's path. And but I'm relying on my higher source a lot. I mean, to keep me not only functioning properly while this is all happening, but also to keep me going in the direction that's going to be for my highest good and for the highest good of everyone else. So, I mean, there's just, I have no qualms in asking for that help. I'm asking for it all the time and putting the gratitude out there for it too. So, I mean, I get what you're saying, and it can be hard. Like when I'm like, I probably should be putting my feet on the earth right now, closing my eyes and just having this moment. However, I have to pay my bills, and so I'm walking that line and asking for the higher self. Sometimes I'll go to work and I'm like, all right, it's your turn. My higher self is taking on the day for me, and I'm going to take a step back and allow that to happen so that I can play both roles and have the rest and the experiences that I need to have. And to be honest, it does seem to work for me. There are days that I just literally feel like I'm being carried through my day, and the internal work is allowed to play out because of that.
So you mentioned earlier about the guitar. Excuse me. Do you play piano and guitar, or?
Oh yeah.
Multi-instrumentalist? Yeah, what else do you play?
I play the violin and the viola and the cello and the bass.
I knew it. I knew it. A fellow multi-instrumentalist. Yeah. That's always awesome because you like learn something and then you're like, what else can I learn? So I've like jumped around on, like I'm not a Steve Vai on the guitar, but you know I can pretty much play whatever, you know what I mean? And it's like a jack of all trades but master of none, as they say, you know.
It was always really easy for me. It started when I was like 3, and I did it professionally for 15 years and wrote and sang. And
I was just about to ask if you sing too.
That was like yeah, I do. But I don't engage in that lifestyle anymore. I just write music and I play for myself. But and I had the experiences and it was great. But
that is really cool.
But I definitely am. I definitely am the multi-instrumentalist.
What about art? Do you do any visual art?
Yeah, well, I'm a graphic designer. So,
okay. That's right. You said that earlier. I forgot about that. So, wow, we have so many parallels. Yeah, the whole group is like that. A lot of people do different things, even writing. And stuff
I love it. I could literally do art and music for the rest of my days, and sit in the garden and play guitar and talk to the bumblebees and the birds and be perfectly happy. But
do you find you're a meditator, or do you sort of meditate through your art, or both?
I do both. I definitely notice the benefit of meditation. I have a really bad habit of not prioritizing that type of meditation, but every time I do it, it's amazing, and I don't know why I don't do it more.
Yeah.
But
do you get to play your instruments as much as you like?
Oh no, definitely not. I'm a single mom.
Oh, yeah.
I work I do as much as I can.
No, I understand that.
No, definitely not. Because it's like I just I'll sit down and start playing my guitar, and I go into my happy place so deep that I lose a lot of time, and I write a lot of songs that way. But then all of a sudden it's like, oh my goodness, I have to go right now. And no, it's not fun to have to put a stopper in that at all.
Yeah, I get it.
But do you? I hope you do. I really, really hope you do.
I've really been trying to, John Benny sent me a guitar, so I finally got a guitar to play, and now I'm like, it's so funny because you get back into it, and it's like, man, now I really want to play the lead guitar and, just lay down a rhythm track and then go and just have fun putting some lead guitar in it, and because that's a whole different, art form, It's, I don't know, it's just more freestyling and less structure than when you're playing rhythm, so I appreciate both aspects of it, but it's hard to do that on a stiff stringed acoustic, you know.
It can be. It depends on your guitar. It
Yeah.
depends on your strings. But,
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. That's what electric guitar is made for.
Yeah, that'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah, yeah. I love it. I love to play electric guitar.
Yeah, me
That's,
too.
the vibrations of these stringed instruments.
Mm-hmm.
When I was pregnant, I still played shows, and the vibrations of the bass on my belly. I mean, I always thought, what is this doing to my child? This can't be bad. This must be very, very good. And I don't know, you never really know. But I remember feeling very aware because when you play the bass, especially like the standing bass, it goes right through your whole body, and the baby's feeling that. And with what we know now about vibration and how important it is, and I don't know if you know about the the frequency,
432.
the change, how they changed that, and we don't play in that anymore, but we can retune and play in that.
Yeah, I definitely I've got one. I've got mine tuned to 432. It's hard if you're trying to learn someone else's song or something because it's slightly off a little bit, but I definitely, because like you said, it's vibrating against your body. It's vibrating through your cells and through your whole body, and I'd rather it be harmonized at 432.
Yeah, exactly. Well, my children have no musical talent at all, and could care less, so. Not interested.
They might come around though.
Yeah, I don't
know.
I'm not pushing it because I don't want to be that person. I don't want to be like forcing it and then they hate it.
Right. That's how I am with my kids. I just let them do what they want, and whatever their passion is, and they seem to be really into art and music and jump back and forth.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah, my 16-year-old she plays the piano awesomely, and she's just watched YouTube videos and things like that, and she's gotten really good. It's amazing.
Nice. Yeah, you can learn anything now. The information is accessible.
Yeah.
Pretty awesome.
And that's
Shane, it was a pleasure. I'm really glad that you let me come, or whatever on your show and chat with you. I don't know if I covered everything that I might have intended to, but I do have to start driving my car again and go home.
Okay, yeah, no problem.
So
I do appreciate you calling in. And are you in the chat as Alyssa, or are you a lurker?
Nope, I'm not really a chatter.
Okay.
I just listen to the show and I cheer you guys on and I agree. So, but no, I'm not an active chatter, and I'm not really. I don't know. Maybe I could take it up, but
I understand.
It always
I'm the same way.
confuses me. It moves along so fast, and I want to give every comment a complete reception. I'm putting quick.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I totally understand. I'll let you get home now. I appreciate you calling in, and call back sometime and give us an update on how things are going.
I probably will, and it was an absolute pleasure, truly. And I'll try to send you the rainbow cloud that I got in Yellowstone Park last May, because,
yeah, that'd be perfect. Thank you.
It sounds like you have a good collection going. Yeah, you're welcome, and thank you very much. I appreciate it.
No problem.
You
okay,
have a
lots
good
of love
night.
to you, Alyssa. Okay, bye-bye.
Lots of love to everybody. Bye-bye.
Yeah, bye-bye.
Your calls, your stories, on air. You're listening to the Love Stream.
Sharing the love and spreading the light all around the world. This is Unbiased and On the Fence. Indeed it is. Phone lines are open. 605-562-0444 if you're in the U.S. And you will want to enter show ID 1477973. International callers can look in the description box below. I'll also put the numbers up on the screen here. All around the world. And of course, you can just join from the website, which is super easy to do at www.talkshoe.com/show .com/love stream. And then you can just join from your computer and use your computer audio. And yeah, it works great. So, a few things. Let's see if I can remember what came to mind. Okay, so we covered the thumb change. I know Sherry will appreciate that because I think her daughter Darby was freaking out at the thumbs because they do look weird, man. What do you guys think? Chime in the chat. Do you feel like your thumb looks like it's further down? Does it look strange to you? Because I don't remember ever noticing a change, but when somebody pointed it out to me, I was like, yeah, it does look kind of funny. And I really didn't notice until like when I was just talking to Alyssa about using my thumb to play the guitar. Like, I've never been able to do that before and still use my fingers. It was, I just couldn't stretch them around there the right way. And we're talking about an acoustic guitar, so the neck's a little bit thicker. And so yeah, that's all brand new to me. Let's see. The thumb. What else? I'm looking over the chat really fast to see if I can be reminded of what I was thinking. Oh yeah, Eileen, we were talking about the clouds glowing at night. Eileen did a video where she was talking about being in the grand solar minimum and the cosmic energy making the clouds glow more, and that she, from time to time she'll experience that down in Florida. Here in Tulsa, we experience it quite a bit, though. I would say at least once every week or 2 weeks we get that. And I've actually filmed the lights from beneath. So now the clouds seem like they're glowing, but then the color lights underneath them will make them reflect even more. So it's not coming from behind. It's not like the moon's lighting them up, but it's definitely like they're lit up. And it's really strange. But I've noticed like the casino has a lot of lights, and I can see the whole sky lighting up from miles and miles away. Just lighting it up from reflecting the lights back down. But I've noticed there'll be warehouses with those sort of amber color lights that are shining up on the clouds, and you can see the different color changes. Over by the airport, you get a little mixture of colors because there's blue ones. And let's see. Oh, Rita, I guess you had to step out a little bit. Yeah, you want to check that out. First time caller, Alyssa, in Montana. It's awesome. I've always wanted to go up there. I don't know if I'm driving, if I have to go through there or not. I still don't know if I'm driving or flying or how the heck I'm going to get there. Might be riding with somebody else. Who knows? But I'll be there somehow, some way. Let's see. Well, we do have about 20 minutes left if anybody wants to call in. I'm going to put on Wingmakers, take a quick bathroom break, and see if anybody wants to call in.
What do?
Man, you gotta love that Wingmakers music. Of course, you can listen for free on YouTube. The Wingmakers material, I actually did a video about that. And it explains how everything within this, what do they call it, a hologram of deception, is all just that. It's designed for separation. And you can see this within every group, even the so-called awakened community. You still see this us versus them separation that just really permeates life here on Earth. And really, you see it across the board where it's us versus them. And really, that's the program at work. The program at work of separating us. Because think about it. Whether it's religion or politics or just any kind of group you're in, it's us versus them. And I think we're trying to do the opposite of that. We're trying to bring in this unity consciousness, this Christ consciousness. We're trying to get back to oneness, not trying to take away anybody's individuality, but just understanding that other people, those people are us in a different situation, so to speak. And that allows us to empathize with people on a much deeper level. And then love becomes primary, and differences, in beliefs and things like that become secondary. But love is primary, and everything's secondary to that. And you realize that everybody's here on Earth experiencing what they're experiencing, and They've been put into whatever situation they're in, and they're wherever they're at, and that's okay, you know, but just to love people wherever they're at. And I think that's a huge thing to really get across, is to get beyond this separation that we see. Hey, I do want to point out, Pretty Dark was on with Eileen on Wednesday. I didn't get to catch it live. I caught it like right after it ended. It was awesome. I just wanted to say that, wow, you have beautiful artwork. Thanks for going on there and sharing. I'm glad I can put a face with the name now. And so, yeah, it's always awesome. If you guys have any contact experiences and you want to share with Eileen, she's going to be doing shows every Wednesday up until E-SETI to share people's contact stories. And then if you're not quite ready to get on YouTube and share, you can actually go to the forum at uotf.net and share your experiences on the forum. Going to go back to the phone lines. 3, 2, 1. You're on the air. Who am I talking to? Ronnie. I had a feeling it was you. It was the countdown to Ronnie. Hold on. I forgot to unmute. There we go.
So, how have you been? You're doing good.
Thank you so much. So you had your session. How did you feel about your session, first off?
Oh, it was awesome. It was very, very easy and very relaxing.
Mm-hmm.
I was a little disappointed that I didn't get all the really cool visions that everybody was getting, but it was actually more focused on, I took the time and wrote out the questions that I wanted answered.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what it went to. Even though I kind of wanted it not to, I wanted a little more surprise.
Yeah. I always tell people that you don't have to write questions. You can. But, some people don't know the question. Like, I went in completely questionless. I'm like, my question is, what is the question? And then give me the answer, because I don't even know what to ask.
But it was really funny, because it went right down the list. I mean, it pretty much covered everything. And it was funny, because when I was writing the questions, I think I told you, I just had to finally stop and send it, because I only started with a few, and then I thought of a couple more. And then it just kept getting longer and longer, and I was like, wow, I guess I have a lot of questions. So but you did such a great job. I just wanted to thank you, too, because you're so, your energy is just so comfortable that
I
it
appreciate
really
that.
helps.
Yeah, I think some people
it was really good.
People can get performance anxiety because it's like, he's a big YouTuber and I'm not. I'm like just this regular dude, right? So it's like, you can relax. It's cool. It's just like any other time, But I can understand that too, because you want to compare yourself. Each journey is so different though. But everybody gets, something out of it, I feel.
Yeah, it was really interesting because I remember seeing the purple. That was my main vision, was just like a big purple cloud that I was inside of, just purple light. And then like you kept trying to help me discover more about where I was, and it just wasn't going to happen. It was like I didn't have a physical self. I didn't have anything to look at on myself and explore that. So it all really became just communication. And so the communication was very cool. I have the link that you sent me so I could listen to it again. And just the biggest message is what I wanted to share with everybody, that it's really all about the love and the trust. That you have to trust in yourself and trust in the process of what's happening to us, and trust in Source, that the Creator is there. You have to trust in that. And that came to mind. I was watching, there's a psychic lady who does tarot too. I can't remember her name, her channel right now. I can see it. She's part Comanche, I think, and she looks Irish. So she's mixed. She looks very Irish, but she's actually part of a tribe. And so she does a channel. And she was talking today about the Dog the Bounty Hunter's wife died, I guess.
Oh, okay.
And that, you know, he came out and that he was questioning, you know, if there was God after this happened. And that's very normal, you know, when you have that kind of a loss and that pain, that you question everything. How can anything be good when I'm feeling this much pain and this bad? So, you know, she's like, that's so normal. But, you know, she wants him to know, yes, there is. And don't doubt it. You know, you can, it's there. So that trust that you have to have, that everything is okay. You know, it's just, even when life really, really sucks and it really, really hurts, there's still more to come. And past that, you know, there's after this.
Yeah.
So, you know, the vision that I had of my sister, it was like a dream vision. And I wish that I could put into everybody's mind the vision that I had of her as she transformed. And, you know, if you just imagine somebody who's really, really sick and, you know, sunken, hollow, you know, discolored and no light in them, and the light came into the room and it came out of her, and it was, the only way that I could describe it when I was telling her about it was that she was illuminated. I mean, she was putting out light, and she was in the light. It was, and she transformed, and, you know, in front of my eyes. It was like, you know, when they show the weed dying, when they put Roundup on it, it was like the opposite. If you played it in reverse, that, you know, you took this something that was terrible, and it goes and it blooms and it's beautiful. So yeah, I think dandelions are beautiful. So every time I see that commercial, it horrifies me.
Well, I've been getting so many different synchronicities, not only with a few things that you had for me, little puzzle clues that I got from your session, but they add it with other little synchronistic things I've had, and I've been led back to revisit the Emerald Tablets of Thoth as a result, and from that I actually there was something in there that talks about laying in a sarcophagus or something, and I don't know if you guys remember, but I mentioned early on in 2017 I was falling asleep one night and I had this image of being trapped in a sarcophagus. Like, I mean, it was in Egypt. I'm in this sarcophagus, like buried alive basically inside of it, and I'm like, what the heck is this about? And it really frightened me, you know. I like woke back up and I'm like, what was that all about? You know what I mean? So
oh yeah.
So
that sounds frightening.
Yeah, so that happened, and then I read this with the Emerald Tablets of Thoth, and then it almost sounds like, I don't know, like it's talking about our group, you know, being the light among men and spreading the light and all of that. So I get more out of it the more I listen to it over and over again, and I'd like to really put it in regular English, because it's, you know, it's sort of reads like the King James a little bit, like just the way, I don't know, they say things backwards and stuff sometimes, you know.
Yes. Yeah,
it's
not reader friendly.
Right. But I think that's sort of on purpose, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
But I
so
guess
where do
it
they
sounded
come
right.
From?
The Emerald Tablets of Thoth?
What is the history of those? Yeah.
Well, it's these tablets that were buried in, I guess, like under the pyramids, and they were discovered later. They're made out of this material that is like frozen molecularly. It doesn't change. It doesn't age. It doesn't deteriorate. It basically defies the laws of physics. And then there was two of the tablets weren't released until recently, and you know they supposedly hold all these secrets and stuff. So it's really interesting because once you see the Sumerian connection with Enki, with Jesus, with the Hermes, and of course Thoth, which is the one who wrote the Emerald Tablets, you see there's this sort of, I don't know, a connection between them that can be made. And it just really makes you wonder if this is the same person incarnating over and over again and, slowly leaking stuff in, and then the message has just been twisted in each of the instances, you know what I mean? And we've sort of got to look through the BS and decipher it for what it really was meant for, But it's exciting. It's another little rabbit hole for me going. And it doesn't feel like a distraction either. It feels like it's moving towards where we want to be headed. So it's awesome. So I appreciate that.
Yeah,
puzzle.
It is.
Yeah, I think your higher self got a kick out of that too.
Yes.
That's funny. At one point he said they said how did he word it? Or I always say he. Sorry. How did she word it?
No, he's he. He said he.
Okay. It felt very masculine, or I don't know, not really masculine, but I guess authoritative might be more of the word, like knowledgeable. I don't know, but at one point I was told that I liked puzzles, and I do. So it's kind of funny that they gave me just enough to go search things out, and it was fun. So I'm still working on that.
When we started, just for everybody listening, I explicitly gave permission that any information that needed to come through for Shane was fine with me. So that was part of it, because I had a lot of personal questions, how is my growth doing? And it was really boring. The stuff about me. It was like, okay, all right. So
I guess it would seem that way, but being that I know you, I don't know. It wasn't boring for me, but I guess if anybody just stumbled across it, it might not be the most exciting information because it's not for them. But just seeing it in work and being a part of it, it's actually pretty exciting.
The most exciting thing was opening up that channel. I was like totally blocked up. I could feel like pressure in my throat when my angel wants to talk. I feel it. It's like in my throat, and it goes up into my jaw. That it's like something is trying to come out, but I have a very hard time letting go of control of myself. So my throat chakra is some place where I've been blocked up quite a bit. So as part of the session, I said something that I felt that, and Shane just knew. He was like, okay, well, let's ask if they can clear this, and it did, and it was really interesting feeling that it was like not just my throat, but like the energy moved up my face, and it felt almost like if you had a cold and your head's all clogged up. It felt like when your sinuses just like clear, everything's cleared, but it went from my throat up through my jaw, across the front of my face, over my eyes, up to the top of my head. It was crazy feeling. So that was really interesting. And so it was the exciting thing for me was finally being able to hear, let this communication happen. So I hear a little bit in my mind, but it's really hard for me to discern, and that, okay, is this me talking to me, or is it, an outside communication coming in? I have a really hard time with that. So my angel, we worked out a system where my head actually will nod a little, just really minutely, but it's enough that I feel it happening, or shake no. So I've got yes or no, and he actually does like some facial expression. I'll laugh and smile when it's not me doing it, which is really funny feeling, but so it's more just really basic communication. So it was really interesting to have that full communication. It was still very hard. It was, like Rita was very fluent and fluid speaking, and I felt like everything was, choking to come out, and it was really cool.
Well, you're in the
I would
majority.
love to do it again sometime.
Most people have, really big pauses in between, and it's not very. I guess probably T. Taylor had the most fluid out of all of them. I mean, I didn't even have to edit hers or anything. I took a few gaps out of Rita's, but yeah, it was pretty fluid too. Yeah, but she had a few gaps here and there. But I try to cut them out. If I noticed any spots that was really big, I cut them out a little bit just so people aren't waiting so long. Because it can be, 15 or 20 seconds sometimes, while you're waiting. But that's
that
normal.
Must be hard to do as a practitioner, though. When do you stop that?
Yeah.
When do you try and break into it?
That's funny you said that, because that is one of the most difficult things. I'll sit there in a meditative state, and I'm thinking, well, I guess I better say something, and then I'll say something right when the client says something. I'm like, oh, I should have waited a second longer. You know what I mean?
Oh.
But it's.
Well,
it's
I think you did a really great job.
Well,
I was
appreciate
very
that.
impressed.
Yeah, that was awesome. I really appreciate you considering me for it, because, I don't know, I'm just honored to be a part of it. It is a journey.
Yeah, it really is. It's all exploring yourself too is a big part of it for me.
Yeah.
Getting to know yourself. And I was listening to your show. I've been trying to catch up because we had such a weird weekend. So I've missed so much stuff after. Because actually doing the 2 shows and doing the BQH, it left me really tired last week, and I just kind of needed to pull back and be quiet with myself for a little while. So I missed last week's shows, and then this week we had just all kinds of turmoil at the house here. My husband got injured. He was walking up the hill and tore his calf muscle.
Oh, goodness.
Which
Is he
we
doing
didn't
better?
know if he tore his. Yeah, he's getting around pretty good now. It's still causing him pain, but he burned his leg with an ice pack. So people, I told him a million times, and please, when you use an ice pack, put a towel between your leg. Even if it doesn't feel like it's cold, you're still getting the chilling effect.
Right.
And now he has a burn on his leg that's probably as big as like a steak.
Oh my God.
Like a smaller steak. Yeah, like a 6-ounce sirloin or something, I mean, it's huge. And
so he's got
did
pain
it
on the inside and the outside.
Yeah. He
That's
fell
horrible.
asleep with his leg on the ice pack for his muscle, and now he's, doubly injured. So yeah, it was just a crazy weekend. So I've been catching up on the shows, and I was listening to the one you did with Michelle Tuesday, and talking about, I think you guys were talking about childhood, revisiting childhood things. And it was so weird because my son just got 2 puppies. And when I was a girl, I was 12 years old, we got 2 dogs, and my sister and I, and they were sisters. And his 2 puppies are sisters. And one of them is really fluffy, and the other one is really smooth. And our 2 puppies, and they're black, their hair is black. Our 2 puppies were black. One had really fluffy hair, and one was really smooth. So it just, I babysat for them yesterday. They were going to a concert, and I went and took care of the dogs. And when I came home, I just flashed back to my childhood. My dog of the 2, they were out running around, and they found a snake. And this was down in Florida, and it was back when it was more wild than it is now where we lived. And I guess she picked up either a water moccasin or a rattlesnake, and we only found out because she came home and my mom came in. She's like, Veronica, there's something wrong with the dog. So I went out, and it was like she was on acid. She was just totally out of it, just couldn't focus on anything. She was just gone. So we took her to the vet, and we had the other dogs. We piled into the car, and he shaved her chest, and he found the bite marks all over her chest and her stomach, more than I can remember. I mean, it was just like she must have been holding it in the middle, and it was going around and striking her. And that devastated me. She died. He gave her antivenom, but she still died, and it was really, really horrible. So it just, after watching the puppies, that whole incident flashed back to me and my reaction to it. And the one thing that I had never considered was that the dog had volunteered to come to intercede in this, because they would run between our property and our neighbor's property, and they had children. They had smaller children, and my sister and I were both in our teens, and she was a little bit older than me. So that snake could have bitten one of us, one of the young people, or even the parents, because they were out there too. Yeah. So I was like, just seeing that different perspective just came to me suddenly, and I was like, that was information to help heal, because I realized, that hurt so bad when I lost that dog. I really, really loved her deeply. I mean, I'm very tender-hearted anyway with animals, but I really, she was my first dog that was mine, and, so I was very attached to her, and seeing the way she died was very, very painful, and so it really broke my heart, and I got another dog. My parents were like, well, we got to fix her. She needs fixing. So they let me get another puppy. And I never attached to that dog, really. And, I guess this wasn't when I was 12. It must have been when I was like 14 or 15. And so, we had her, and I liked her, but I never really, really attached to her. And I realized I've been doing that since then, just withholding myself from really letting myself love somebody because of that fear of that kind of pain again. And so it was really, really, I was sitting there thinking about it. I was crying. I was like, wow, So it was really, really healing. And I think that when Michelle was talking about the childhood, visiting back, that kind of sparked the awareness of what was going on, which was so helpful. To get through that.
Because we were thinking of going and revisiting happy memories, but now you actually went back, revisited this traumatic experience, and saw your dog's death as not in vain anymore, but as sort of taking one for the team or protecting one of the children that were there, and like you could see the purpose.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. So even painful things are not always as bad as, it was bad. I'm not going to say it wasn't bad, but at least understanding that there was something more to it than what you see. That's like, when you have the experience that, you get stuck behind somebody, and then you realize, if I had not been stuck behind somebody, I would have been there where that accident is.
Right.
It was that kind of thing. So unless you get that kind of feedback, you don't know what would have happened in if the circumstances had been different. So, and it also shows how much we're protected, Yeah,
it really does.
So even, the role that we have to play here, I really, it's got to be important. It's got to be more important than we can see right now. It really is vital. I don't know. I don't want to elevate us and say, oh, well, we're so important. But the job that needs to happen for the benefit of everybody is important. And we're part of it. And that's such a wonderful thing. So.
It really is. And, that reminds me of when I watched the Golden Child. I don't know if you saw that movie with Eddie Murphy.
I never did.
Well, the idea of it was...
I think...
Go ahead.
Oh, I was stationed in Spain, I think, when they were making it, but I never got to see it. I was just so poor. Yeah,
it's like one of those
movies
movies I like recorded when it was on cable, and then I would watch it all the time. I loved Eddie Murphy, and he's like somebody that I wasn't allowed to watch very often. So that movie, that they were cool with me watching it. So I watched it a lot. But the idea of it is, you know, he helps kids or whatever, and they go to him and say, "You're the chosen one that's supposed to go save this kid." And he's like, and he's just sort of making jokes about it the whole movie, like, "Oh, I'm the chosen one," and you know, not taking it seriously because he didn't see himself that way. And when I found that Mandela effect in there, I was trying to like decipher, I'm like, why is this change here? What is it saying? And I realized how many people that are sort of light worker type people that are here to make a change, you can actually go the other direction, away from ego so far that you become inactive. You're like, what can I do? Who am I? You know, I'm not, you know, I'm no one, you know, and you can kind of take that whole opposite of having an ego too far to where you're not. You know, you're not really doing your job, really. You know what I mean? So,
yeah, that's true.
That's true. So I always tell everybody, be the star of your own life, of your own show, and, you know, just be the change you want to see. I mean, we hear that a lot, but to really, we're the only thing we can control is ourselves. So if we can make the change with ourselves, then we can watch our world change around us. And I've been watching it happen. I know a lot of you guys have been watching it happen all around you. And it really is a beautiful, transformative thing that you can see happening. And it's really me that's changing, you know?
Yes. Well, you know, the I don't know if you watched the Democratic debate was it last night, the night before, with what's her name, Williamson?
No, I didn't watch any of it. I heard a little clip today on NPR, but no, I totally missed it.
I looked. I went and found it. I missed it when it played, so I just wanted to see what the candidates were saying, and that this one woman, you know, I guess she's an author, and she made it onto the debate stage, and she looks at the camera and she's addressing Trump, and she's talking about, you know, well, you know, you're just full of hate, and we're going to, you know, beat you with love. And it was just so crazy to me that this woman is standing on the national convention stage here, you know, talking about love being the cure for hate. I was like, oh, that's just too awesome.
Yeah.
Right. I'm not going to vote for her, but that was cool.
The message is getting leaked out, guys. Definitely.
It really is. It's spreading around.
There's something else that came to mind that. There was actually Candace Crawl Goldman's going to be back with me on Monday, and she sent me this video that I found to be super interesting, and it's this company of this software called like SEC, I think it was, or NES software. It's like for food distribution or something, but it's a Mandela effect video, and they're notifying their clients that if any of their data changes, it could be a result of the Mandela effect. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it's finally hitting mainstream. Like, you know, at least CEOs of these companies are talking about it because, you know, they're spending so much time with support trying to figure out why numbers aren't matching up, but they end up matching up, but not with their memories. So evidently people are remembering that, you know, this certain store bought 12 cases of this every month for the last 10 years, and your computer software saying they've only bought 10. And then they go look at their paperwork, and it says 10, and it's just like they've got what appears to be a false memory. So anyway, I thought it was really cool that it is starting to get out there a little bit. So many people haven't heard about it, but I think it would be a huge wake-up call for a lot of people, you know.
Oh, I can't wait. Are you going to put that on the show? Is that going to show up?
Well, let me see. It's been covered a little bit. I should probably put a post up. I guess I was going to see if I could get him on the show, but I don't know that he'd want to go that far out on a limb, you know. But I could at least put a post. I'll post something to. I'll send a post out later because you guys got to see it. And I noticed some people in the comments said that Moneybags sent them over there. So I know a lot of people in the Mandela Effect community have probably already seen it, but I will definitely find that. And I'll paste it into the description now. Let me go to my history. And
awesome.
That's what I'll do. I'll just put it below so you guys can click it. I think that'll be the easiest way. But I thought that's cool because, I mean, gosh, I never thought I'd hear a CEO talking like that, you know?
No.
Just throwing it all on the line like
No,
that?
that's wild. Yeah, I mean, when they were talking about it on the news, all they were doing really was just mocking it and using it as an excuse to tell us how bad our brains are.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
it was so
I
frustrating.
remember wrong.
So yeah, if you guys haven't seen this, I'm going to paste it in the chat, and I'll put it below. Let's see, I'll put it right beneath the phone number. So if you want to check that out, you can. I found it to be pretty interesting that somebody would come out and, because that's, gosh, you would think his clients might go to somebody else if it's just too far out there, you know. There we go.
Yes. Yeah.
So awesome. I appreciate you calling in, Ronnie, and helping me take up the rest of this hour, because I was like, I guess I'm just going to have to play music the rest of the time. But I'm glad you had time to chime in. I know you had a busy week and everything.
Well, I'm recovering now. Now it's back to chores. I've got to do some concrete work tomorrow to keep the bears out of the barn. So.
Oh, yeah. You said you had bears trekking through the property. What is that like?
Yes.
I mean, you saw the baby bears, but not the... Go ahead.
Well, it wasn't a baby. It was, you know, but it wasn't a big bear. So I think that it was just like a youth who's just left its mother. I guess they stick around for like a year or two with their mother, and then they, you know, separate and go their separate ways. They're not pack animals like dogs are. So it was a smallish bear. It wasn't huge, thank goodness, because that would have been scary. But, you know, to me, black bears are not as scary as the brown bears, the grizzly bears. You know,
okay, so the brown ones are the ones that...
They can be aggressive.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're aggressive. The black ones, they're more shy. You know, they're more prone to run away. I was pretty nervous about it when we moved here, so I was looking for videos to find out about them. And there was a guy, he was hunting, and he had a camera too. So he was taking a picture of the bear, you know, video, and all of a sudden the bear looked at him and was like, oh no, and he came charging at the guy. So you don't see anything happen, but what happens is the phone, you know, you hear him being hit by the bear, you hear the phone falls to the ground, you hear tumbling around going on, and then he grabs the phone and he gets up and he's like, oh, you know, but he wasn't hurt. The bear didn't attack him. It just like was, no, you're in my space and I'm going to push you. So it knocked him over and tumbled him around, but it didn't, you know, bite him or claw him. Although I guess there are some people have died from them. You know, they can be, especially moms, when they have their cubs, they can be very defensive. So, you know, this one, it was broad daylight, and it was funny. I was out on the deck, and the dog was on the patio down below the deck. And we both just sat there with our mouths hanging open, watching this bear run past. It was lower than us. It was like halfway down the hill, but still, you know, that's probably only 50 feet away from where we were. And it just went running across the whole property, out past the pond and up the hill on the other side. I could hear it for a while in the trees over there, but I couldn't see it. Once it got, everything is all full of leaves now, so you can't see anything. But yeah, it was pretty wild. I've seen deer, lots of deer, but they haven't been coming around as much. Somebody was out hunting, so I'm guessing that at least a couple of the deer are now somebody's dinner. But there's plenty of them.
So how many bears do you think are in that area? Is it a high population area for black bears?
They have a really huge territory. Like their territory runs like 30 miles, and you know they may overlap each other. Right. So this one, you know, it came around, it got into our trash and hauled our trash bag over to the side of the hill, and you know but it must have fallen past where the bear was comfortable going, because it was on a really steep part of the hill, and it just left it there. So that was a couple of months ago, and then there were no more sightings until I saw it running across the property the other day. So whatever its territory is, it's a 2-month travel.
Or maybe you're on the outskirts of it and they just don't venture over that far or something, usually.
Yeah, well, we're kind of on the edge of the wilderness. Once you go about 6-minute drive, you're hitting the edge of town. And, we have a lot of houses around us, but it's a lot of larger properties, larger parcels. And then we're like on the edge of a really big wooded mountainside. So it is the wild out here, and it shows. I've seen wild turkeys, 10 feet away from me. I was like, this is just awesome. Hummingbirds. Finally saw a hummingbird. I haven't seen one in years. That was really cool.
Oh, I love hummingbirds. Yeah, you can get those little sugar water things and hang up that they like.
Yes, I need to do that. Except for that they also attract the bears.
Oh, they do? Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Apparently all the fruit trees that I planted are also going to attract all the bears, too. So it's going to be a bear party. I'll have to fight them off because, I want my fruit. So.
Maybe you just need to start being a beekeeper, too. Get some honey up there.
I've been looking into that. I really want to do one of the horizontal hives because I'm getting old and I have a bad back anyway. So I don't need to be picking up 25-pound honey things. Those boxes get really heavy when they're full. So
that's wild. Yeah. That'd be fun. Are you afraid of bees?
I am. Although I've been watching bee videos for a while now, and I'm getting calmer about it. When I was outside this spring, there's a bush that's like right at the corner of the house where you go around to. That's how I was taking the dog down to the other part of the house because the dog is scared of stairs. We're from Florida. There's no stairs.
Right.
Yeah, it's all like ranch style houses, all the older houses. So he's terrified of stairs. He wouldn't do them. So if I wanted to put him into the fenced in part of the yard, I would either have to go through the garage or take him around the side of the house. So I would go to the side of the house, and this bush was it was the first thing that bloomed as winter was ending, and it was covered with bees. I mean, and that used to, the way I was before I started watching videos and learning more, I would have never gone anywhere near. I wouldn't have gone out my front door if I wasn't in a car. I would get in a car in the garage and back out and go. And I was that. I mean, I've been stung by wasps a couple of times, and it hurt. So I don't like pain. And, but after watching those videos, it's okay, they're not monsters. They're just doing their thing, and if you just don't go at them, and it's typically when you squash one by accident that it sets them all off. Then they're like, oh, you're attacking us. Yeah. So. I'm definitely going to get the full bee suit, though. If I get stung, it'll freak me out, and then I won't want to do it anymore. So
I'm right with you on that. I've seen the people that wear the bee beards and right on their face, and I'm like, dude, there's no way I'd ever do that. Have bees all over me like that? That's so crazy. I'd do the bee suit, though. I'd be okay with that.
Yeah, as long as I take some kind of precautions and do what I can, If you get an accidental sting, then, there's, what is this stuff called? I found it I got burned in a restaurant. They brought one of those really hot plates out, and they didn't say, oh, this is hot, and I grabbed it and burned my hand. So they gave me some gel. I think it was called Burn Aid. And I didn't realize the active ingredient in it is tea tree oil. So tea tree oil is really, really good for burns. So it's a gel, though, and it was really soothing, and it helped So I think something stung me, and I was like, I need something on this. It hurts. So I used that gel on it, and it did really good on the sting too. So I don't know if it was an ant or a bee, but I swell up from both of them. So, but it did great. So
that'd be cool.
Tea tree
Start
oil, I guess, is good. Yeah.
Jarring up some raw honey. That'd be awesome.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, I know one of the insects, is it hornets? One of them will or maybe yellow jackets. One of them, when they sting you, they put a honing beacon thing on you, and all the other bees or wasp or whatever it is know where to find you or know to attack you or something like that. I don't know which one, but
yeah, it's a pheromone. Yeah, they all do. I don't know if wasps do. I know that bees do, and I think that the yellow jackets do. The ones that will follow you. Once you get that smell on you. That's why the beekeepers, you'll see them smoking themselves after they get stung. They just cover themselves with the smoke to help cover up the smell of that pheromone.
That's why if you step on one or whatever, they still get you, I guess.
Yeah, they'll come after you because of the smell. Yeah. So yeah, I'll probably try bees.
That'd be cool. But what is that going to do with are bears scared of bees? Or do they just come around and just take the honey?
No. Yeah, they like the honey. Although it's very effective to use a electric fence. They'll climb a regular fence if they can, but an electric, or they'll go through it. There was the guy that we got our chickens from. A bear broke into where he kept his chickens, and he had chain link gates as the doors to his chicken area, and the bear bent the gate down until it could rip it away from the wall and went in and ate his chickens. So that made me very nervous about keeping my chickens outside. I was like, what am I going to do with them? Oh my God, they're going to be eaten by bear. So, but I looked into it, and they're actually using it to control grizzly bears even, and polar bears. When they go do research up on the ice, they put up an electric fence around their camp, and it's great. It's a perfect deterrent for them. So, yeah.
Well, how does it work with if a kid or a smaller animal, does it really zap them too bad, or how does that work?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It doesn't kill them, but they'll wish they hadn't touched it?
Oh, you'll always wish you hadn't touched it. Yeah, I sat on one.
No.
That was not fun. I never jumped so high in my whole life. That was, I think I flew. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So it wouldn't kill a child or anything, then it would just make them cry.
No, they don't make them that strong. But although I think there are some that go really, really strong, and I think that they're banning them. People were using them to keep coyotes from coming in their yard in California, and I don't remember what it was, but there's some kind of ban on using electric fences, and if you use one, you have to put up all kinds of warnings and stuff. I guess, I don't know, if you have a pacemaker, what would happen if you touched an electric fence? Yeah. I don't know. So,
wonder what kind of electric induction that's putting off all the time. EMFs, I mean.
It pulses. Oh. Well, your Wi-Fi and your computer are probably worse.
Yeah.
I think that they're really bad, yeah.
Especially my Wi-Fi, my 5G Wi-Fi. So, yeah.
Yes, yeah.
But,
That's,
what are you going to do? Yeah, don't piss on... Yeah, don't pee on the fence, guys. Electric fence. Thank you, April and Bruce. Or no, he's saying don't piss off the mother. Okay, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Mom bears? No. Yeah, don't piss them off. So, that's it. I want to be respectful of the animals. This is their home, too. But I need my own spaces to be safe for me and the animals that I'm responsible for. So, and I'm protecting my fruit. When I was in Florida, I had a tree, loquat, It's like they call it Japanese plum.
Mm-hmm.
It's small orange fruit. It's delicious, and I love them. So I planted a tree when I moved into my house, and it got really big and beautiful, and I would go out and eat. Well, I came out of my house and looked, and I was like, oh, great, they're getting ripe. But I was on my way to my mom's. So 3 hours later, I came back, and there was not one fruit left on my tree. Not one. The squirrels had come and stripped it. And this was a big tree. I'm not talking a little tree. I mean, this was a big tree full of fruit. They stripped every bit of it off. I was like, you have got to be kidding me. So animals are not good at sharing. I don't mind sharing, but I will take what I want, and then they can have what's left. So I will share.
It seems like it'd be hard to keep squirrels out. They probably just figure out a way over, huh?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I have one apple tree on the property now that is already, it's been here a while, and it has fruit on it. And I don't even know what kind of apples they are, but I saw there were deer over there eating under the tree the other day, and today I saw a squirrel stealing a fruit and running off. So I didn't think they would be getting ripe this early, but apparently they're ripe enough for a squirrel.
Well, yeah, I'd love to have some fruit trees. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, that's really important to me to know where my food is coming from.
Mm-hmm.
That's to me, or getting organic is good, but it's so expensive, and it's still, a lot of it is being shipped really far, and you really don't know. They can call it organic. Who knows if it's organic or not?
Yeah, I totally agree.
It's supposed to be, yeah. So, I just prefer to know. I know that I'm not going to be spraying poison on my food, so that makes me feel comfortable.
Absolutely. That's one of the main
April's
things I
want.
want.
If you can.
Let's see. Oh, I don't know. Can you put an electric fence?
You can put it anywhere, but it has to be isolated from the tree. So, you would have to put something on the tree. They have little insulators that, if you're putting it on like a wooden fence that you already have, you have to buy those little insulators, or they have the movable fences. They have the little temporary paddocks for animals for moving them around the pasture.
Right.
They have plastic posts, and so that keeps it insulated, because once it's tied into ground, you lose all your electricity.
Oh, wow, okay.
So
that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, so probably you could, but I think it's probably best to get some kind of netting. They have the tree nets that you can buy. So I hate doing stuff like that. I just think it looks ugly. I don't like the way it looks. But if I have to cover one tree so I get fruit off of at least one of the 20 that I planted, I'll do it. Protect one.
Yeah, I was thinking, if we can manifest a bowl of fruit, pure organic fruit, that would solve all of our issues we're having here. So that's what I'm aiming for. Just manifest a bowl of fruit
awesome
as needed.
Idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always forget to focus on not thinking about the poison that they've put on the food, but to, focus on that this is my clean water. That's actually really exciting to me, is that we have a well here. So the water is just amazing. It's so good. It's cold and it's fresh tasting. It's just wonderful.
That's awesome. Yeah, my brother had a spring on his property, and I'm like, man, you're set up for like end of the world stuff, because you can do that electric, but you can't do without water, and you've got this solid supply of water anytime you need it. That's awesome.
Yeah. Well, you don't, though. You really don't, because, like my well, who else is pulling water out of that aquifer? How much water is in the aquifer? Don't know. I have a waterfall, but what happens when too many people start drawing off of it? It's a spring-fed waterfall, so once the water table drops, then you lose the water pressure and you don't get anything. And that's what happened in California, I think, with the droughts. You know, they had so many people, and the agriculture was pulling a lot of, and also the bottled water people, and a lot of the manufacturing that they do that uses water. They're pulling all this water out of the ground, and it takes 30 to 50 years for it to filter from the surface back down into the aquifer. So,
wow, I had no idea it took that long.
Yeah, because it's going through rock. You know, it's filtering down through layers of sand and rock and cracks, and you know, so depending on where you are, and they're taking away, like happened in Florida, they're taking away all of the lowlands, and you know, they're building them up so that they can put houses on it. So instead of 5,000 acres of land that would hold an inch or 2 inches of water, now they're trying to do it in a 1 acre pond. You know, so you're not getting the same amount of pressure over as big an area. So you're losing the recharge, and that's why they're getting like the saltwater intrusion is coming further and further under Florida, and ruining what was fresh water. Yeah. So it is. You know, the Earth is just such a beautiful system, and
it is.
You know, that's we're just messing it up. They came when I was in Florida, the town south of me. They wanted to put in an injection well for injecting wastewater, which is chemical waste. It's not, you know, it's used chemical mixed with water, and they need to get rid of it, and so they're trying to inject it back into the ground. Everybody was like, no. So fortunately, the county actually listens to the community there most of the time. But like in Texas, and I think also where you are in Oklahoma, the towns are not even allowed to decide that, or the counties aren't even allowed to decide where it's legal to do injections. So, you know, you could have your water supply is being contaminated and you don't even know it. So yeah, that's when you put profit ahead of the welfare of people and the environment, you know, it's just so wrong. It just bothers me so much. So yeah,
it is hard not to get triggered with that stuff, because you see it happening, and like, I've seen they've got all these fracking operations here where they inject wastewater there too. I don't know if it's the same stuff you're talking about, but it definitely, I mean, there's people that can light a flame on their water coming out of their faucet just because it's got so much gas mixed in with it and stuff. So, not to mention all the earthquakes it causes from perforating the ground.
Yeah. Although, you know, to me that's kind of it's like, okay, you're getting small earthquakes, but if you weren't getting those small earthquakes, all of that pressure would be building up on the, Madrid fault? I always want to say Madrid because it looks like Madrid to me.
Yeah.
But that Madrid fault.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
yeah, I lived in St. Louis, so it was down. Well, I guess I'm just about as far away from it now too, but it's kind of down by the Boot Hill of Missouri, I guess.
Yeah.
That whole tri-state,
that
four-state area.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah. So. Yeah.
I guess we'll see what happens.
We just have to keep pushing out the love and pushing out the, you know, that's why I love doing the meditations on Saturday. It's like, this is how I really feel like we get to fix things, because nobody's listening to us. You know, the politicians, the businesses, they all have their own agendas, and it's not my agenda. My agenda is we're going to make this a better place, or we're going to leave.
And we can do it through the power of intention. I mean, it's scientifically proven. I love that. And we'll do that tomorrow night with Eileen, so I'm excited about that.
Yes. Yes,
that might be a good topic
to
maybe tackle.
Yeah, maybe you guys can come up with a good meditation for that.
Absolutely.
All
well,
right,
Ronnie,
you sound
I appreciate
tired,
you.
So.
Well, actually, I've got to let my wife get in here and go to sleep. I could go all night, to be honest with you. That would be awesome to do like an all-night coast-to-coast type show or something. But
It would be fun, but you got family, so you got to do what you got to do. So, all right, love
Absolutely.
you all so much.
Love you too, Ronnie. Thank you so much for everything.
Oh, thank you. You have a great weekend. Bye, everyone.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Alrighty, you guys. So we will be back tomorrow night with Eileen for the Power of 8 at 8, where we're going to, like me and Ronnie were just talking about, we're going to make real-world changes through the power of our intentions by joining together. Super excited about that. That will be tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 7 Central. I think it's midnight GMT. Not sure. Or UTC. But at any rate, lots of love. I'll be back Monday also with Candace Carl Goldman. Monday afternoon, it's a special show, 1 p.m. Central Time. And lots of love and light to you guys. We'll see you in the next one. Have a good one. If you'd like to support the work I do, go to paypal.me/UOTF. Thanks.